What is up, guys? Welcome to another episode of Pearl Daily here on the Audacity Network. I really appreciate you guys tuning in. I was so excited to see you guys that I literally came here early. I started my show early because I was just so excited to say hello. So today we are doing the topic of Black fatigue. And for those of you that don't know, I do think it's important to kind of give you guys a background on the situation of how we came to this topic. So I really do try to, when I'm doing this show, do shows and topics that are kind of topical. Like I got to pick stuff that's in the news, and you know how it is. You got to talk about what you think about those different topics. And last week, I think it was exactly a week ago now, I blew up the manosphere of YouTube. Black manosphere, whatever it was, because I was invited onto a panel to discuss Black fatigue, and the panel crashed out on me. And the conversation I'm really going to have now, it's really out of love, if I would say, because I really do like Black people. Black people are pretty cool. You guys are funny. You're chill to hang out with. But the problem is at times you guys just behave like women. You really do. And I think if we're going to work together, you guys got to work on that. I mean, yeah, to some extent I am a grifter. I am. Yeah, I mean, cuz people say that as an insult. And maybe, I won't say anything for money because obviously I was demonetized for 2 years, so I could have avoided that had I said anything for money. Like it's like you guys have been here. But I do want to get paid. Like, yeah, I want to make money. I want to make money on the internet. So if that's wrong, you can call me wrong, but I do mean the things I say. Sometimes I say things for comedic effect. Sometimes, obviously some things are tongue in cheek. I really try to aim for a smart, intelligent, thoughtful audience that can kind of keep with the jokes. But I'd like to make something clear. I don't do anything for shock value. A lot of people say Pearl, but Pearl, you just are a shock jock. And I really didn't understand what that meant. You're like, you just are saying things to be shocking. And I'm gonna roll back the clip. We're gonna react to the panel from last week, and you guys can tell me if this is shocking or is it true. Because I do think once you get to be an adult, you no longer should be offended by words unless someone's personally attacking you. Now, what is a personal attack? I'm going to say the definition. A personal attack is a type of criticism directed at a person's character, appearance, or other personal attributes instead of their ideas and arguments. So as an adult, as long as you're not being personally attacked, I really do think that the standard has got to be sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. I heard this when I was, like 12. And that's how I'm able to really keep myself cool, So I went on this panel to discuss what I thought was Black fatigue. Now, there was some discourse. Ilkan is the guy's name. The guy who hosted the panel said, "Oh, I didn't say it was Black fatigue." And then I'm like, "Yes, you did." And he's like, "No, I didn't." And the argument was, Pearl, that wasn't the topic. You can't say that. And I really don't like that argument because I really try to keep it real no matter who I'm talking to. I thought that's what I love about Black people is Black people really do. I mean, they are kind of emotional at times, but they keep it real. Do you know what I mean? We're all about, so why am I going to change the way I talk? Well, why do I got to change the way I talk because I'm talking to black people? Wouldn't that be, I think that would be more racist. It's like, they're like, they don't want racism. Now they want more racism. It's like, I just can't win. I can't win with these people. So I originally left this panel because I just didn't think it was very well done. It was nothing. This guy, Big Rick Da Ruler, he was just talking a lot, and I just kind of got bored. Now, again, Ilkan, and we got to talk about this, tends to go at things in bad faith. So he accused me of like being offended by him, and that's what they keep saying. They, because black people do this thing. They always accuse white people of what they're doing. So they're really easily offended. And so what they'll do is they'll say, Pearl, you're offended. And I'm like, no. And you guys can tell me, watching this clip, do I look like I'm offended here? Right.
He's full. I order $30.
So anyways, see, I'm smiling. I'm happy, not offended. I was just bored when I left. So I try to give them some criticism to their detriment. They take it. Sorry, to their credit, I will say they did take the criticism. They had him talk less.
Dollars of Uber Eats every day.
And I really want to show if there's like 2 black people watching. I want to show why at times white people just stop working with you guys. If you want to say, I want to show how you guys actually cause racism. Like, it's actually you, it's not us. Look at me, not seeing color, just going in there with a smile.
Hey, so because I'm not experienced it, that means that it's not real. This is just numbers that Rick is putting out there. Somebody's going to call me out. Somebody's going to say, Fatty, your reality, just because your name is Fatty and you seem like you are overeating or you have a full fridge, that's the point. Is
okay, this was the worst panelist I've seen in my life. I actually think the woman brought more value than Fatty. Isn't that crazy? Isn't that kind of crazy? The woman, I would say, because at least, she was going back and forth. So, all right, let's see.
Than the actual brothers who are saying it.
Okay.
Man, that woman does me this, that woman does me that. And I go,
they go tell other people. Why
Oh, sorry. I left there. That was the first time I left. I think I came back here. Yeah, there we go.
yes, yes.
Ours are so much easier, too.
When you're single, when you're at home and you're a single man, are you not cleaning in those situations? What
on another person? Most women, as soon as you don't get your way in control of him,
it's under some flaw, and you don't see that. What you do see is a lot of men on here.
You see me bored? Like, do I look angry? I look bored. I'm like, oh God, I come in with a smile and now I'm bored. I'm like, I can't be on a boring panel. My time's too valuable. And I was thinking, I'm like, I could spend 3 hours on this boring panel, or I could do reactions. Because I filmed 120 reactions last week for the whole month. So now I'm kind of done with that's what I was thinking. And I'm like, is this worth my time? All right, where do we go back and forth? Then they call me. They're like, come back. Oh, there. And then I bring my She Belongs to the Street sweatshirt.
You better watch out. Kazim comes back with a $20 ball. Thank you very much, Kazim.
I was just kind of bored. Like, that's kind of just how I felt. I was bored.
Somebody asked her.
Okay.
So drawn to chaos over comfort. Is that a little bit?
I just thought the question, I'm bored. I'm still bored. And then finally, I'm like, something interesting. Like, do you see my face light up? Now, does this look like the face of somebody who's a racist? Look at me. I'm having a great time. I'm having a good time. Usually not. Okay, wait. All right, there.
Men who seem
I'm looking down. I'm like, I'm bored.
competent through their confidence and risk taking. Because if you look at it biologically speaking, risk taking did lead to positive outcomes as long as it was responsible. But
you know what? I don't really make my thumbnails. I'm being honest. I don't know. I don't make my thumbnails, so I just had to put some people on the from a panel or something. So look, although Angry Man, go ask the chat. Tell him I said $75 to change streams. $75 at 8:15 to come on. How much? What's his price? He's got a price. Let's buy him. I'm a landlord to blacks in DC. I have real black fatigue content. Yeah, and I've talked about this before. I really don't have hatred for black people. I really don't. But I have a lot of pent up frustration because they say, who hurt you? I'm like, black people. They hurt my feelings a lot. I offered them friendship. I offered them jobs, and not all of them turn their backs on me, but God, enough did that. A bitch has got feelings. A bitch has got, do you know what I mean? Oh, you want to know how that happened? Well, a bit like, who hurt you? Black people. You know what I mean? So what happened was I went to England and I started a YouTube show, and I lived in a pretty black area, and I did a show that was like, I had 100% black staff, like half 50% black people. And this wasn't like intentional. It just kind of happened. And then a bunch of them called me a colonizer. And I'm like, oh, you want me to be a colonizer, bitches? I'll be it's just like, it's like, you keep calling, you guys have created a demon. And you want to say, Pearl, your tune has changed. You guys have created me. I will never forget. I will never forget that Canon event when I'm doing my happy stream and I look down and I see one of my friends made a hit piece on me. Two of them. Two people I considered to be friends. One had stayed in my parents' house. They made videos insulting me, making fun of me, and insinuating I was a colonizer. And that really hurt. That really hurt my feelings. So congratulations to the two YouTubers. You guys know who you are. You guys know who you are. You've created a demon. You've created a monster. And I'm way worse now because I got demonetized for 2 years and now I'm back and I don't give a fuck.
A lot of women are.
Congratulations. I'm like the Joker, baby. Pearl, how many chocolates have you been with? Well, I like Nestle, I think. I like white chocolate. I like cocoa powder where you make it like fresh. Thank you for the question. We can go through. I do have a sweet tooth, I know. So I'm on this panel and
attracted to that, even if it's not in a positive way. It's not positive risk taking, it's negative risk taking.
Rick was nodding his head a little bit. What do you think? Why do you think the statement is wrong, Rick? That women are not.
Yes.
I'm too active until I get up.
Most men don't lead with no payouts. When you meet a woman, you only show her that you got some shit going on.
Accessibility shortcut.
All right, now I'm
Most-
like,
most
finally,
men-
I can
most
go.
men
I
lead
can riff.
with this fake ass persona that they are the man that's of her dream, and you nothing like the nigga that you had before you. So
A
I don't think
super
women are
sticker,
picking those
$4.
type of men.
Thank you.
But by the time she realized that you full of shit and you ain't the nigga that you led with, right?
Men move out there because in my head it comes Future, Nick Cannon, Cam Newton.
And by the way, you know what made this show even more ironic? The topic had to do with T.I. And he literally is a felon or he has a criminal record. Hold on.
Like usually the guy that has already a track record and women still flock to them. This is a very visible. I don't think this is
Now, you
like the
talking
woman
about-
will.
No, women know, but we hate that we love them.
That's different.
Like, oh, I love him so much. I hate it. We hate that we love the criminals, the players, the rappers, in this case, the entertainers, the really unstable men we just love. And you could see this because when women are young and hot, that's who we pick. When we're old, ugly, and used up, I mean, that's when we go for the stable guys. And we do a very good job, yeah. We do a very good job convincing them we love them. So now look at the difference. Very angry, very happy, angry, happy, angry, happy. I don't know if any girl comes in and is like, I love the stable guys. It's like, at 20, did you? Usually not. So that's, and we can't help it to some degree. We cannot help that we are attracted to men that show signs of dominance. I think a lot of us we wish we could turn it off, but we can't. It's just what we're attracted to. We're biologically hardwired to do that, unfortunately. So
Do you
We're
disagree with that?
biologically
Let
hardwired
me-
to. Did you say we're biologically hardwired to want chaotic criminal?
well, dominant, yeah, dominant. Because you got to think of like Ted Bundy. He had women. Yeah, he had women writing him love letters. I didn't. He impregnated a woman. He impregnated a woman while he was in prison for murdering women. This is a real Luigi Mangione.
I don't think that's a woman thing. I think that's a thing that certain women do.
Well, you are correct.
There's no.
Hold on, Jazz, let her land, and you respond. You going to get the mic? Let her land.
Not every woman does that. There's different levels of dominance. However, we are still attracted to dominant men, and that does come in the form of if a man can kill someone else, we know he can protect us biologically. So that just is what it is.
So you find you equate dominance with a man that can dominate and harm a woman attractive?
That's one way that men describe it, or that's one way that men do it, and women do select those men. So I try not to apply morality to this, good or bad, it doesn't matter, because women do pick criminals. Criminals are men that have committed a violent crime are actually more likely. They are more likely to reproduce than men that haven't. So I didn't make this world. I didn't make women write love letters to Ted Bundy.
Has that been your experience? Like, are you attracted to criminals?
To be fair, I don't know many criminals, so that hasn't been my experience personally.
What about the people in your environment?
I've interviewed 1,000 people. A good chunk of them did, procreate. I will say thank you for the super chat. Hail Pearl, keep dropping these red pills. Thank you. I will stop the show to do super chats because I'm grifting. I'm grifting, baby. Grifters got a grip. Yeah, you know what I mean? It's like grift, baby, grift. Oh, so you guys want to know? Sorry, you guys want to know why I'm covering this still? And I actually am going to get to that. I'm going to play the full clip. I'm going to let you guys go. And then I'm going to get to it. And date men with felonies. That's not uncommon. So
okay,
especially in the Black community, if we're going to be honest, that's uncommon. So I don't know why you're pretending to not know what I'm talking about. You can gaslight these simps, but you can't gaslight me. Chica.
I don't know what you're talking about. I don't think you know anything about the Black community, but I will say about the white community, it's a lot of white women that find, men who kill other women attractive.
Grifter, LOL. Hey, Pearl. Thank you.
Those are the women that were
true, but I won't gaslight you about it. I won't gaslight you. I would say that's true. That's true. There are white women that do that.
I can't hear you.
Yeah,
hold on, real quick. Hey, hold on. I'm gonna say it again. Hold on, real quick, Pearl.
I can't hear you while I'm talking. I don't even know why she even brought up the Black community.
You can't say that until she lands. Like I want you to. Right now, we got strong personalities on the panel. Please let the person finish and then respond. You can't say the person interrupted you, and why you talking over me while I'm talking if you already interrupted the person. Let her finish. You the first person that can respond to her, Jazz. You the first person. Just let her land.
I did let her land.
No, you didn't let her land, Jazz.
Okay. It's fine. Let's start now.
Okay, well, you asked me why I brought it up, the Black community, because you're Black, so you would know. Because I don't. The same reason you brought up the white community, because I'm white. I have eyes,
If you're done, first of all, that's very disrespectful.
It's very disrespectful.
Gaslighting. They're being disrespectful. They're calling me disrespectful, and because I am grifting right now, let's do the Grift Olympics. Hybristophilia is a psychological term for the love of bad boys. Pearl's such a disappointment. I'll keep disappointing. All right.
No, it's not. Yes, it is.
No, hey, friends, we don't need ad libs. Jess can handle it. Let her handle it.
Go ahead.
So like I said,
again,
we
we're
were talking about,
offended. Next. Like,
Go ahead, Jess. Let
Y'all
Jess
gonna
finish,
allow
please.
me?
Let's go ahead, Jess.
I will. Yeah, go ahead.
Jess,
so
no,
like
you-
I said, we were speaking about relationships in general. Nobody said anything about black or white until you brought it up, and for what reason I don't know.
That's true.
It
You're
didn't
black.
add anything to the conversation.
It did.
First of all, you're speaking on the nature of women and how we are all naturally attracted to.
I don't mean to keep clipping it, but I will or stopping, but I will for $2. Shaniqua's have pookiophilia, please. All right.
Men who are criminals, and then you made a
Black
point to
women in
say,
particular. Yeah.
excuse me, no, that is not the case at all for black women. Now, if you're talking about people that are in poverty, people that live in certain situations and are
60% of
to
black men have been
Excuse me.
arrested by the
Can you
ACLU.
stop cutting her off? while
Hey,
she's
one
talking?
sec. Hey, friends,
Cut her off.
one second.
Eileen.
I got you.
She's
I got
cutting
you.
me off, Eileen.
I got you, Jess. You don't have to ask. I got you.
Sorry.
You are right.
Crashing
Bro,
out.
bro, just,
My bad.
it's fine. Just make some notes, Pearl. Let her
No,
finish.
she's
And then
very
you got it.
bad.
Go ahead, Jess.
That's my fault.
It's fine. It's fine. Go ahead, Jess. Uninterrupted.
It's just weird that you would even have to bring up a race of people to even have the conversation, which lets me know that you don't really have information on the conversation. You're just spewing points to try to get a rise out of people because that's all you know. As it pertains to why women choose the women they want or the kind of men that they date, there are so many different reasons for that. You can't equate a person that has a felony to them being a violent criminal. That's not always the case.
You know, he's got black fatigue, black people, the urban landlord. I have a clip of a black tenant getting mad that I called him black, very sensitive. Love for you to play it. We can react when I bring the panel up. When I bring the panel up, we can react.
Because I agree, there are some people that marry men and women that have felonies in their background. That doesn't necessarily mean that they are violent. And then to say that black women are the most prone to violent criminals within our community, you don't know shit about our community, Pearl. And if we're going to talk about what's happening, if we're going to make it about a race thing, let's figure out what's going on in these white communities, in these white homes, when you all are raising all the mass shooters, y'all raising kids that are taking guns to shoot at other kids, y'all going into public spaces. And I'm sure you're going to talk about black on black crime or whatever, but we can debunk all of that because that's through proximity. The point is that you didn't have to make it about black or white. Keep it general because it's very disrespectful for you to try to pigeonhole black women when you don't know any of us at all, to make that assumption that that's what we are prone to. None of these women on this stage, myself, Tyranny, or even Athena, are dating any man that is of a criminal or that are violent. So watch what you say up here. You got a really smart mouth. And if you're going to have the conversation, try to be respectful. And all this trying to get me to hurry up, I'm going to take my motherfucking time.
Oh my God, can we just?
Oh my Lord.
Please.
Hey, there was the rule. She
Take
has
your
the
time.
hey, friends. We don't need it. When she lands, Pearl will have all the chance to reply. Everybody going to be quiet. Go ahead. You done, Jess?
Yeah, I'm done. I don't understand why that was accepted. Like that was
Wait.
so
1 second.
disrespectful to
1
say.
second. 1 second. We shouldn't accept what she said.
To say that you should know.
Thank you guys. Hello from Pompo Beach, Florida. They chase gangbangers. Racism. Wah. Thank you.
Know as a black woman because you all date criminals when you
So
all raised.
Jess, 1 second. So my this is my opinion, Jess, and correct me if I'm wrong. She punched you in the face. You have the right to punch her back. Right? Is that fair? If you felt that she punched you in the face, I have an opinion about this that I'm going to say later, right? But we are letting you defend yourself. We're not. You're going to have 2 chances to land your plane, and Pearl is going to have the chance to actually rebuttal what you said. Do you think that's fair? What do you want to do? Can we go on? I want to make sure so everybody knows where we at.
We can move on. I think she
Okay, go ahead, Pearl, and then we go back to the panel.
Okay, so you can tone police the simps and women that respond to shame, but you're not going to tone police me. So anyways, going back to the stats, the reason that I said that was 2 reasons. The first is that I interviewed 1,000 people. A good chunk of them were black women. And I just noticed that they had a propensity more likely than other races to date criminals. It's not really an insult. As I could go into details about the types of men, white women tend to date that are irresponsible. I've just noticed different trends in different communities, and it's kind of backed up by data because 60% of black men have been arrested by the age of 25. So, you know, it's not to be rude, but I think it's more common in that community than it is other communities. In terms of mass shooters, I think you said white people are the majority of mass shooters. I would say that's true. And I wouldn't crash out on you for saying that. So again, if you want to get offended, that is a choice, and that is your choice. And that's, you know, I don't know why, but black people have a tendency to think that crashing out isn't a choice and that you can't, like, and women tend to think this way too. Like, especially black women, they have a tendency to think that crashing out is something, if I say something offensive or that you find offensive, that you must crash out. White people, we just walk away. And I'm going to go into that later because I'll show you the difference. Next time, ask her if that hair is real. Also, to the panelists watching, if you guys on the chain could just put in that, I know a few of you watch. It's probably going to be 15 minutes late for when I bring you guys up. Taybox, I love you. Pearl, here's my life savings. Thank you. $5.73. You must be black. That's your life savings. Sorry. I'm sorry. Okay. Right to do that. So
I want to touch on this, and then I want CJ and Rick the Ruler to pull up, and the rest of the panel. Okay, Tyranny, I see you too. So coming from a world citizen, right? Because I live in Portugal right now. It's 2 a.m. And Pearl was in the UK for a while too. This is not a black woman thing. If you go to Japan, all those women love the Yakuza until they get older. If you go to Brazil, all those women love the kid from the favela before they get older. If you come to Europe, all these women love the guys that ride on the Hell Angels. Like, women like danger. Like they are emotional junkies, right? And I believe that Jazz actually pinpoints what it is when you put together people that are emotional junkies, which is most young women, and you put poverty together, you are going to get massive results. And in my opinion, this is why the black community in the United States is hyper exposed to these situations, is because you are mixing two components that are very dangerous. Is the level of poverty. People live on a lower socioeconomic level, and they are addicted to bad boys, because that's what women do. You can go to any white college and see exactly the same type of behavior that shads are getting all the women. That's the reality. The bad boy, the football star. Like, we know this is something that,
you know what, like, this is why he's the worst panelist, because at least Jazz was entertaining. Like, she can be the crazy woman. Like, she's being cast as a crazy woman. You do need those casts. But Fatty is just, like, boring. Like, it's just not. I mean, if it was me, who would I keep on? He's actually not the worst moderator when he's not simping. I'd keep on Ilkan. I don't mind Big the Ruler, but you got to moderate him. He's kind of entertaining. But Fatty, he would just have to go. I would even keep these two crazy ladies, because then you can let the crazy ladies beef. Yeah, I mean, yeah, you know, it's just, I think Fatty really, and that guy's got to get reined in. You know what? I actually, if I had to redo this panel, I would have just had the women in Ilkan. That would have probably been the best. Anyways, I'll keep going.
it is a woman thing. It's just more exacerbated depending on the communities, the culture, and all that. So I actually believe that both of y'all are right on their own way. We can't, unfortunately, just be against something because it triggers our feelings. Okay, friends.
Oh my
God. No,
Where's Black Power at on this bitch?
One second, please. I didn't finish. One second, I didn't finish. You know what's funny, Tyranny? You did exactly. Tyranny. Hey, Tyranny.
Can I speak, Patty?
I have a Black Panther in my arm.
But you're not representing her.
Respect me. 1 second, please. The pro-black shit is not going to work against me.
Just not articulate, doesn't moderate. What, like, there's just nothing this guy adds to the panel. Like, I can't even put into words how much nothing he adds. like not good looking. Like at least Ilkan, I would say he's like a decent looking, like CJ, decent looking guy. But it's like, so and if you bring in a fat guy, you expect him to be funny. He's not bringing that. Like this is just, he derails, doesn't moderate well, crashes out. I'm like, this is not good. The only thing good about Fatty is his graphics and sound effects. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, it's just, yeah.
Facts, Fatty.
Right? The pro black shit doesn't, because nobody.
Unfortunately.
Tyranny. Stop. Like tyranny. You can't tell me myself that I depict black woman in any kind of way that is negative because I avoid it. But what we have to do is be fair. If she was talking about black men,
It's not wrong. Most black women are more attracted to. They have a higher propensity to be attracted to those men. I don't know why y'all got offended and expect black power. That's where this racist shit come from. Like I told y'all before, it's the black women that want us get us into this racist shit. Can I finish?
Can you coon
It's
later?
the black women that want to get us into this race shit.
Just let him land.
No, I'm chilling. I'm eating gummy bears in the corner. So again, they keep saying, but Pearl, you were the one that was offended. I'm like, do I look offended? I mean, that girl kind of crashed out on me. Look at me in this corner. I'm eating my gummy bears.
no, it's fine. It's fine. We control. Hey, Tyranny, don't mute yourself if I mute you. Go ahead, CJ.
So yeah, I think they want to get us into a war that we can't win, so they can go and be with the white man, and that's a different topic. But sorry.
Like, look at
how chill. I can't even put into words the level of chill I am.
Tyranny, you have the chance to reply, and then I'll get the best of the people that haven't talked, especially Big Rick, right? What did CJ said that was wrong? It's a battle of ideas. 1 second, Tyranny. Remember, this is the battle of ideas. You have uninterrupted time to prove CJ that what he said is wrong. No name calling for now. Later we can do it. Let's prove CJ wrong. Why is he wrong that most black women are attracted to this type of man?
Pearl, no, we're not attracted to them. Their men want us. That's why they really hate us, because they can't.
There was not the question.
That's it.
There was
but
not
I'm
the
proving
question.
him wrong.
There was not the question. No,
Caucasian men
Tyranny, you have to be.
love
One second. I talk again. Tyranny,
Yeah,
one
she
second.
making my
Tyranny,
point
one
back.
second, Tyranny.
Half of black women have herpes. Like,
Hey, one second. No, one second.
yeah. So again, I just had to get rid of this delusion. I mean, he said like she's, and I just gotta I'm trying to be honest here. If black women think you're stealing our guys, I just have to go to the stats that I can also back up with my real lived experience. So it's not just stats. Black women are 7% of the population, 40% of abortions. Most white guys kind of lean pro-life. We're not really with that. You know what I mean? Like, if I talk to 10 white guys, some of them might give in and say, fine, women can have abortions, but they're not really like with that. 75% of black women are baby mamas. The obesity rate for black women is like, I think the average black woman weighs 180 pounds. White men prefer skinny. I mean, I at times think I'm too big for white guys, because white guys just really like the petite. So, we are losing to different races. We really are. It's just not really the black women, except maybe like the Christian Candace Owens like type black woman. Like sometimes I would say, she'll like swoop into the church or the conservative party, and there's a guy that's got that thing for them, and then boom, they fall in love. Thank you for the $2 super chat. But I just, Tyranny is the first non-obese black woman on YouTube who is a 1. I just needed to clarify that. Yeah. I just needed to clarify that.
Pearl.
Hey, for real.
No. Hey, everybody. One second.
Every single group of people has bad habits. No, I can say that I would say black women have way worse habits than white women. I would actually say it's not even close. It's not even like a little bit close. We do have bad things that we do, and we could talk about it, but I just, it's significantly worse in terms of habits for Black women. Like white women vape, like I would say that's pretty common. But a man would take a vaping habit over an obese woman. I'm just being honest.
Now, 1 second. Stop talking. Pearl, let me ask you something, Pearl. Are you trying to get the reaction of us?
No,
One second, Pearl. I'm asking you a serious question.
Do I look offended? I just want to, everyone, they said I'm offended. Do I look offended?
Right?
Okay.
Because we had you on the panel once, and Andrew Wilson was with us, right? And Andrew Wilson all of a sudden starting to do FUBU remarks and talking about Black brands and all that. And I asked him, hey, brother, I see your content all the time. You usually don't talk like this. So my question is, and be honest about it, is there any of your statements you're doing today, statements that are made to trigger the crowd that you have right now?
I actually came here prepared because I thought the topic was Black fatigue. So I came prepared with stats, facts, data, and statistics. I came
but the topic is not Black fatigue, right?
A mute button would do wonders for every Black panel, podcast, and forum. Yeah. That's what we spoke about.
No, but is the topic Black fatigue?
That's what you told me the topic was.
No. I'm asking.
Okay, now they're about to gaslight. Okay, so I need to. Now they're gonna start white knighting. I'm trying to paraphrase just because here. Then he starts crashing out. He starts.
Trace put the table to you, and you can do whatever you want. But if we are going to try to either get clippable moments or something like that, we know more about you than you know about us. So if you want to go there, we can go there. I take my gloves off and we can do whatever we want. And if nobody can be offended because of Black this and Black that, you are going to talk about the time where you were fucking a Black homeless man, a fat motherfucker that you were effing in your house, right?
Okay, so now he starts crashing out on me, right? And I want to show you, because Black people have a tendency to think that white people have to argue with you. But, white people are similar to men. When women start bitching and arguing with you, you just walk away. And you don't do it because you're offended. You don't do it because you're even angry. You do it because you're just not very pleasant to talk to. And if I'm having an unpleasant experience, I'm not going to sit here and shame you and guilt you. I'm just going to go home. I'm just going to leave. And that's what I did. Fatty, you're fat too. It's like,
absolutely. You have no titties and no ass. You are mad at me because I have more titties than you. That's why you're mad, right?
We could go back.
That's why you're mad, right? Because I have more titties than you.
So again, here's the thing. Again, I thought, white people, we're just not really built like that. We don't really want to go back and forth and personally insult you. We were adults so that we could talk about. And now I'm still smiling. I'm really not offended. But, some things you just don't want to opt. You're like, all right, this isn't a productive conversation, is it?
No, we are definitely adults. Let me ask you something. What do you think about Black fatigue?
All right. So I do appreciate you guys having me on. I really do.
Can you say what you think about Black fatigue before you go?
I really did want to do this, but apparently we can't do the facts, data, and statistics. Thank you guys so much for having me on.
If you want to
do my channel, it's just
Pearl. If we came on your show and started talking about white men and white women, you would have had a problem. That's so disingenuous.
Yeah. So then they start to gaslight and act like women. So I'm going to keep going further on this little thing. He then calls into my show. Because again, white people, and I just want you guys to understand, when you guys crash out on us, we just walk away and then do our own thing. And we just do our own panel. So if you're just not pleasant, we just walk away.
Well, by the
Fatty, you got to get out of this chat. I really am only letting entertaining people be here. So I'm going to ban you because I need the bar to be a little bit higher. I just need you to be better. You know what I mean? I just need better from you.
Black men. I won't say Black women. I know Black women try to tear you apart. I cannot deny that at all because of information you do share. But white women try to tear you apart. Women in general try to tear you apart.
And so then he comes and starts nagging me and like, I just don't know if you guys understand how unpleasant this is. And Black people, I know they can be pleasant. They're like, when I do street interviews, they give me the funnest answers. No, it's a woman thing too. It's not just black people. I don't know. The behavior patterns are really similar. Great show, Pearl. So, like, and you got to think of the audacity of this, because white people, we understand our place in like a hierarchy. I mean, imagine having like 5,000 YouTube subscribers and lecturing a woman with 1 billion views. I had 1 billion before I cleared my channel. I had 1 billion views. You're going to tell me how to do my job? You know, it's like the audacity. You know what I mean? Like, do you know who I am?
You've been somebody a lot of people have been supported before you even came on a panel. When you came on Anton Daniels' panel maybe 2-3 years ago, black women would say, oh, Pearly racist. Men came out to your defense big time. I wanted the men that came out to your defense. I say, hey.
It's going to nag like a woman. I get the topic. And
Did
if
I
you
tell
go back
you-
to our messages, yes, you did.
Did I tell you we're not?
Now he's going to gaslight me. He's going to say, oh, it wasn't the topic. Be in your face and say this. Then he's going to accuse me of, and it's like they always go in with such bad faith. Like white people, our default is good faith, and it gets taken advantage of all the time. Our default is, oh, the topic, but if he was a white guy, the white guy would have said, oh, maybe I did tell you the topic was black fatigue. I'm sorry. That's how it would have ended. Did say that. I could give you, when we're talking about black crime, I could give you real life examples. I could give you examples in the media, and I could give you facts, data, and statistics.
Mhm.
If you don't have all three, I understand having, so.
An echo chamber, which Pearl asked
I'm
us
trying
not
to,
have a.
I'm going to have panelists show up soon. W Pearl, and wish you could do a fresh and fish. Shout out Myron. Oh my God. Those girls are too ghetto for me.
Pearl echo chamber. We hate echo chambers too. Why would you kick off the person who's going against what you're saying? So we have an actual conversation.
Because you
Then we
can't
have an
have,
echo
you
chamber.
can't have a conversation when someone's monologuing for 10 minutes. You can't do it.
Disrespectful way.
And so no, I didn't even think this guy was disrespectful, but I'm like, we're never gonna get to the point. He doesn't land planes. And now he's gonna, and this is the thing, it's like always bad faith. Always bad faith. Like a white guy again would say, oh, that's why you kicked him. It wasn't because you were offended. Oh, I'm sorry. That's how we would do it. A white person would say, I don't mean to overtalk you. Oh, I'm sorry. A white man, definitely not a white woman. Sorry, I should clarify. A white man would do that. A white woman. Oh my God, I had to mute a white woman last week. So let's not pretend I'm going to do a show on white women this week too. So I got smoke for everybody. But it's the lack of good faith. It's just incredible. Like in a good debate, you got to go back and forth. Like I just have a good knack for this. I did 6 shows with 10 people on it, 6 days a week for a year, and 2 years at 4 days a week. There's nobody that's done more panels than me, except Myron. I should have said, okay, let me skip over this.
We have buttons for that, but that was his first time.
Okay, now excuses. That's what we get to. Excuses for the bad behavior. There's never an apology for the bad behavior. And the reason I'm trying to point this out is because really, I think black people, if you guys learn to apologize, we could just have a better relationship. It would just be better.
When I talk to you,
and a real apology.
I got on the phone with him because of what you asked as well too.
I do that too about this.
But he's over talking me. Okay.
It's a thing. Go ahead. You can finish though.
No, just let me say something real fast.
And then the black guy says he's gonna go. Yeah.
The problem is women like Jazz, they want white people to sit there and be quiet because almost every single panel that Pearl has been on, she's been expected to. Well, those days are over. Black fatigue is real. If you bring up an established person who's done the work on YouTube.
Yeah, okay. No offense, Doug. I'm going to skip. I just want to get to the end. Okay, I want to get to the end. Have herpes. They have really high gonorrhea stats, really high HIV stats. White men, this is a concern for white guys. And this is this is a
because
reason.
she said so that's equivalent, that's warranted. If a black woman says that white men like black women, that's matched with black women. 50% of black women have herpes.
That's true.
That's justified.
That's true. It's an
I just
explanation. Yeah, and so again, women get really emotional about the way the information is said, where men they care about the information. So this is a very female like way to do this. All right, now let me
if I said white women like black men and I say, oh, all white people are racist, like, is that equivalent? Does that match?
No, because the facts, data, and statistics, and also real life experience don't match up with that.
Right.
Because white people actually give black people opportunities all the time. So there's no evidence.
Pearl, what does that have to do when she said that white women want white
Oh
men
my God, it's like I was wrong.
to? You will find a way to bring race into it just because.
I do respect. This is me getting tired. This is me like this is you ever have a woman argue with you? And you're like trying to say something, and then the woman's like, argue, and you're just like, do you know what? You're right. You win. Could you? Sorry. I do understand your opinion. I just don't respect that you know how to do this better than me. I'm just being honest here.
What do you mean by that? What do you mean by that?
I just don't think you're qualified to give me advice on how to do this.
Tell me how. Why? Because you got more viewers than me?
Because of your results.
What's the results? I just started. I'm like been on this for 2-3 years. I haven't even went consistent every single day. So how can you? Why would you do this better than me? You have how many people?
Again, if this was a white person, oh, I'm sorry. I'm telling you, this is how it would go. If it was a white person, they would say, "Oh, you're right. I'm probably talking out of my ass. I'm sorry. You're right. I probably am not qualified to give you advice."
Who I have watching right now?
Okay. So,
how many people you have watching right now live?
Okay, so again, we could go back and forth as a view off or whatever.
You got that in.
You can do as you wish.
You did that, Pearl, not me. I'm trying to.
I gaslighting. Okay, this is a crash.
Okay. Who asked who to be on whose panel?
Well, I'm just gonna.
Okay.
I'm gonna mute you. I'm gonna mute you. The crash out. Yeah, I love. This is why I love it here. So
I wouldn't say crashing out. I wouldn't say.
I'm just gonna put this here. I think this is really demonstrating why white people at times do not give opportunities to black people, because you guys just make it a lot more difficult to work with you. Do you see his face? It's like, I'm being honest. I'm like, look, you have made this a very negative interaction. You had your co-host crash out on me. You guys started lecturing me. You came here, you started monologuing and lecturing me. This was not I did not have fun. This was not pleasant for me. And a lot of white people aren't going to tell you guys this, because we just, like men, we just walk away. And I'm out here saying, hey, black people, I'm being honest. I'm being honest about the way this goes. And that's me being really honest. That's me. And I would say this is just increasing the difficulty. And then I would just say, you know what? We just won't do it again. It's fine. It's totally fine. Yeah.
We're supposed to be Americans.
Where you can keep doing your stuff.
When a white
American. Now again, and we just don't get it. We're like, okay, you clearly don't like me based on the way you're interacting. Let's just never talk. Let's just never talk again, and we can move on. And then they keep going. It's like, yeah, I know. So then I just want to give an update. I did this stream. So this week, white people were very forgiving. So we do accept apologies fairly easily. Like we accept apologies like the easiest. All you really got to do to a white person is nicely say, I'm sorry. This is what I'm going to. Half the time, you don't even have to make it up to us. That's how forgiving we are. We are like the queen and kings of like, okay, let's let it go. I mean, maybe not the women. I could do a white woman stream a different day. So anyways, this whole week, he's been asking me to do a panel today. And he's been saying, let me paraphrase some of this. We got to do this. Basically, I'm going to paraphrase. He tells me he wants to do the show Sunday. If we're both not in our feelings, although as I just demonstrated, I was clearly not offended. Then he says you can do clips, you can super chat. And especially if you're not offended, you should be able to do my stream. So he's like subtly trying to insult me there. And I keep saying, that's not an apology. That is not an apology. And I'm really trying to be honest with Black people here. You win a lot more people with sugar, like being nice, than being mean, especially white people. Black people you could be nice to and they'll be mean back. But white people, if you're nice to us, we're nice back, generally speaking. I apologize that he says he apologizes, but he didn't do anything to disrespect me. So he apologizes and then gaslights me in the middle of it. Then he gives me a million excuses, and I just keep saying back, hey, Pearl, I apologize and I was wrong. Try it. It kind of came down to, I said either apologize or stop bothering me. Leave me alone. Please leave me alone. So today I really did do this panel for one reason, to be petty. I'm going to be honest. Yep. This is a petty panel. I'm going to be honest here. And because I really just don't like this insinuation that I somehow need this channel. Oh no, I'm admitting it. I'm not petty often, but occasionally I will be petty. That's very true. I can and will be petty. So I decided to actually redo this panel on my channel with Doug MPA as a moderator. And that way we could actually have a nice conversation, hopefully, today. Because Black men crash out like this because at the end of the day, they have to go back to Keisha if he doesn't berate you on her behalf. No cheeks for him. I don't know why they do this, but I'll just say, and it's not all of them, right? Doug MPA is obviously here. I know Doug MPA is just Pearly thinks, thank you. It's not all of them. And I've always said it's very obviously not all of them. But this is way more prevalent in Black culture than white culture. It's absolutely more it's like not even close. It's not even a little bit close. It's just not. And I've lived in white areas, I've lived in Black areas. I've lived in both. And it's the same thing like if I was going to compare men and women, do women and men who apologizes more, men or women? We all know the answer. Come on. Come on. Oh, Donovan, if you want to come up, you can come up too.
Oh yeah, let Donovan up. Let's
Donovan,
go.
If you want to come up, put it in the chat. And so, again, don't do it. It's a trap. Once they show you their victims, they'll always set you up and blame you for everything. I'm Black, and I'm not saying that last part, but
a ninja.
But no, it's not. Look, it's not all. And I've always said it's not all, but we got to talk about generalization. We got to stop being offended by generalizations. And I've talked about white woman shit too. I really have. And there's some white women shit that annoys me. Like the Christian white woman is like the worst type of white woman because they beat your head. They beat you over the head with a Bible. Oh my God. Oh my God. Those are the women that terrorize their husbands. Oh, they're the worst ones.
Okay, Pearly, who's
Black
worse?
women, Black women are too fat because 75% of them are fat. Not all, but so they can't really get in the door because they're too big. But white women get in the door and they kind of ruin the guy's ass. Look, everyone's got their problems, but if we're offended by generalizations, I don't know how we have a conversation. And men understand this, but you know who doesn't understand this? Women and men that think like women. What is the point that Black people are given opportunities? Maybe there's a reason it has to be done and laws have to be created for it. What is the point to make that Black people are given? I don't really understand this question. Maybe I'm dumb. I don't know. A lot of Black men act emotional like women because they were raised by single mothers and almost no strong male figures in their lives. I don't know. I just know they get offended easier. That's all I could tell you.
Uh,
All right, Doug MPA, I'm going to give it to you now because he is the moderator, and I said he would moderate and I would act as a panelist. So welcome to the show, Doug MPA. And today
Hey.
I'm actually going to host the panel that was not had last week. And by the way, this could have been had this week on Ilkan's channel. I was completely open to doing it. I in no way felt like recruiting. I in no way wanted, I did not want to do this on my channel. But again, he was just so difficult to work with, gun to my head. I was like, I guess I'm doing it on my own channel. So Doug MPA.
Uh-oh. I think she fell out of the stream. Uh-oh. Hope she comes back. Guys, make sure to like the video, subscribe if you haven't already. This is going to
Sorry,
be
I
a
accidentally
great show and a great panel.
I accidentally kicked myself. Yeah, so what was I saying? I forgot what I was talking about.
You're talking about having the panel on your channel instead of
Oh
theirs?
yeah, I mind you, I know. I also want to give a shout out to Athena. She's the first woman I've ever met that's added value. She came up and I asked her to go on this panel, and she even brought guests for me. Do you know how annoying it is to bring guests? Like, that's something YouTubers were all too lazy to do. I've never had a woman bring value ever in my life.
Although, Pro,
Is she Latina? Are you Latina or are you white?
I'm half Greek, half Colombian.
Okay. I knew she was a Latina because the Latina women come in and they're
Bring
like, "How can
value.
I help you?"
They bring
Yeah,
value.
literally.
That's why white women lose men to Latinas. Latinas come in. White women are busy working. We're like, let's go work into human resources and tone police. And the Latinas are like, can I cook for you?
That's actually pretty accurate.
Yeah, she knows. Okay. All right, Doug MP, I'm sorry. I'm gonna give it to you. I'm gonna drop for 1 second and you can bring up the panelists, and then I'm gonna come back. I'm gonna give Donovan the link. Is that cool?
Cool. Okay. So, guys, we're gonna bring an all-star cast up. Athena, good to see you. I saw you in the chat. The only thing I would say is, guys, liberal white women will always be worse than the conservative white women, because liberal women will complain about the patriarchy while they're benefiting from the patriarchy. They'll complain about white men, the evil white men, while they're married to one and the white man's paying her bills, but she calls him a oppressor at the same time. So to me, liberal white women are the worst, even worse than drag cons. So guys, we're gonna have a panel up. I'm gonna be asking all the questions. We have some really good questions. I think if you saw the panel that Pro just showed, you know where we're gonna go with these questions. And you know, I've been Black in this country for over 40 years. I've had Black fatigue my entire life. I see people talking about the rise of Black nerds in the chat. That was me growing up. So I've had Black fatigue my entire life. I'm really glad that Trump got into office and really put pressure on these media companies so voices aren't being censored, so people can talk about Black fatigue, because I'm sick and tired of it, man. I'm tired of it. So guys, make sure to like the video, subscribe if you haven't already. Go to the audacitynetwork.com and sign up there. That's the best way to support Pearl and the channel. So we need to get more people over there, just in case YouTube tries to mess around with Pearl's income. So go over there and sign up. It is $9.99 a month, and we love to have you over there.
I'm going to read a super chat real quick. It's okay. Just breeze past the fact that you said it in the video twice you replayed. No one says white people give white people opportunities. It's implied. I just don't care. I just look, like there's people that go into things in bad faith and good faith. And if you're offended, I just don't care. I really don't. But I appreciate you paying me to say that. So I thank you. Anyways, go ahead, Doug.
Twice, actually. Twice to say that. So thank you.
I don't mind. You know, I don't mind.
Mm-hmm. So, are there any other?
Oh, Doug, are you not able to add people?
I am not.
Can I hold on? Because I need to make you. How do I make you a moderator again? Let me see. Hold on. I thought you were gonna edit.
Yeah, I don't. I think that you're gonna have to do it, but you can do it. It's fine.
Yeah, I can. Okay. What up, people?
Hey.
We got Smoothie Queen. I like your name. We got William James. Welcome to the show.
Dr. William James.
Dr. William James. Welcome to the show. And we got Homath. Welcome to the show, everybody. If you want to give a quick intro, feel free. Doug MP, I'm gonna let you go.
So I am Doug MPA. I've been supporting Pearl since she had 15,000 subs. I told her she was going to be big time when she was small, and she's met and exceeded all expectations. I'm a Pearl supporter no matter what. I was there, like the Black people that work for her made Pearl into this, and I support her 100%. I'm 40. I'm in my mid 40s. I've had Black fatigue my entire life, so I love this subject, and I'm ready to talk about it. Let's go. Athena, go ahead.
You want to do each of the panelists? Do you want to start with Athena and then go to Homath and everyone give like an intro?
Yeah. Athena, go ahead.
So I'm just saying a little about myself.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. I'm Athena. I'm from Texas, born and raised. I have a little homestead farm. I like to go on panels and have a good time, have these types of conversations. Shout out to all my my friends on TikTok and Instagram. Yeah, that's about it.
Okay. Homath, go ahead.
What's
the
up?
legend.
Legendary. I am legendary. I am Homath. I became famous very quickly for complaining intelligently about women on TikTok, and now my skills are going to be used to talk about other forms of political strife.
Cool. Dr. William James, go for it.
Dr. William James, author, educator, real estate investor. I guess you can say I became famous with my appearance on Jesse Lee Peterson's podcast, the author of the book Black Supremacy. And yeah, Dr. Will James on Instagram, Dr. Will James podcast on YouTube.
And Smoothie Queen?
You know Jesse? He's funny, isn't he?
Oh, he's great.
He is.
Well, hi, Smoothie Queen here. I debate sometimes on TikTok with my friend Shadwife. Shadwife was invited up here, but she redirected me. She redirected Athena to me, and I largely debate like racism, systemic racism, and feminism and those types of things. But yeah, that's it.
So first off, Smoothie Queen, I have to say that you have beautiful hair.
Thank
beautiful
you.
Skin.
So do you. No, I'm joking.
Okay, so if I have to interrupt you, it's probably because you're going on too long. I want people to make cogent points, so let's try to keep it civil, okay? So I'm going to be asking the questions, and we're going to get right into it here. Let me get the questions. I'm sorry, 1 second. 1 second, you guys. Okay. The biggest deflection tactic when talking about these subjects, I'm going to ask the first question. Why can't we talk about Black people without bringing up white people? Whataboutisms. Why is that always the case? Why can't we just have a conversation about the issues with Black people without bringing up white people?
Is there an order for like the
Smoothie, go ahead. You start talking if you want.
Popcorn, yeah, let's go for it.
Well, I don't think that's the case, honestly. I think that largely when we talk about like Black people experiencing stuff, maybe I should have expanded more on my background. So I do a lot of just like community organizing in general. I attend a college, right? We'll figure out if anyone can figure out what school it is. But I largely engage in these conversations and try to address like disparities that exist amongst Black people in America and people of other marginalized groups. But when we talk about like the experiences of Black people, what's going on, crime rates and education, those types of things, the discussion largely isn't even like touching systemic racism. Largely, we're talking about like how individual choices impact or like how people make individual choices and like what that means for things.
Let me reframe the question.
We have a different perspective, but that's not my experience.
Because you're not answering the question. Let me reframe it. Why is it that when there's criticism towards the Black community, they have to bring up white people in defense against the criticism? That's my question.
So your question, like leading might be the word, maybe presumptuous, but
I'll lead all day. I'll lead all day.
Go ahead. Sorry. What'd you say?
I said, I'll lead all day.
Oh, no. But that's the point. Like you're saying, I'm not answering your question. Your question assumes that this is a reality when
It does assume it. So
yeah, like
so
you're
please
not
answer.
saying anything that you're just saying I'm not answering the question, but you're like, do you see where the disconnect is?
No, answer
You
the
don't. Okay, so you say that whenever discussions like around Black people, like doing stuff, that we talk about white people, that is not my reality, right? As much as I've engaged with like the community organizing space amongst like Black people in general, that's not my reality. So
Well, what's the
what
first
do you do with that?
response? What's the first response when you say Black people commit more crime? What do they say back?
Well, white boys are shooting up
Per
schools.
capita? That's typically
No, I meant like if you say like 60%.
no. That's the response. Like, oh, are you talking about
no,
per
I'm
capita or
saying
raw numbers?
usually when you say that, Black people respond with, but white people shoot up schools.
Oh,
That's
but because I don't do. Did you hear me do that? Actually,
we're not talking about you. It's okay.
You're talking
if
about the
you're gonna
Black
be saying
collective.
I
Oh,
and me.
what?
Yeah.
How about this? Actually, could I ask a question?
No, you can't. No, you can't.
Oh, I can't. Okay.
No, not yet.
Okay.
This isn't an I-me conversation. You
Yeah, I
don't
wanted
want
to
to make
ask a
it
clarifying
personal about you
question.
because that's going to derail the conversation. We're talking about general concepts in society.
Yeah. So
Okay?
what I was
And if
going
you
to
don't
ask.
have an
is-
opinion on it, we can move to the next person.
Oh, I do. But once again, like aside from whose reality is what, where are you getting your generalization or like your like correctness from? Like, how are you understanding or establishing that this is like a reality?
eyes, like my eyes.
Yeah,
So,
like that reality
Are
hits
your
me
eyes
pretty
like
hard.
better? Like, why should I believe your eyes? Why wouldn't I believe my eyes?
You know what? How about this? Smoothie
I
Queen. We're
I
gonna
can answer this. I can answer this
I'm not gonna
question.
answer the question. Just move on, man.
Yeah,
I
we're
mean, I
already
thought
we're already
Yeah,
we're
yeah.
already going
Good
meta
point
on
of
it,
view.
getting into
Oh, Matt, go ahead.
Just
yeah,
Oh, Matt,
we're
go ahead.
already getting meta on the conversation. It's like we're getting into a point where it's almost like discussing semantics already, and we're 1 minute in. This is something that a lot of people, it's an experience that a lot of people share, that if you want to talk about one group of people, whether it's a religion or a race or whatever, they usually like that. It's just a very common experience. It's my experience almost every time I talk about race. It's like, well, white people do this. It's what I get on Twitter. It's what I get everywhere. Everybody I have ever talked to about it has the same experience. You know, we might not have data on it. We might not have like a Cornell University study on how often somebody brings up comparisons, but we've all experienced it. We all share that experience, and we all are, you know, in general agreement with it. So questioning whether or not it happens is like, for me, a non-starter.
Me
you
too.
know, yeah, it's just like it is the daily experience. And to address the question directly, I would say that you're almost getting into like a metaphysical question there. Why do you talk about, if you start talking about one group, why do people bring up another? Well, if there was only one group of people, you couldn't talk about them. You know, we only have one planet, so we can't talk about the other planet, like comparing Earth to live on a different planet. There's only one. So if we're splitting people into more than one group and talking about the characteristics of one, immediately people want to compare them to the characteristics of the other. And in America, at least, the tension between Black people and white people, our differences and our conflicts and everything, is the primary. It's been the largest racial or ethnic tension in America for as long as I can remember, and probably as long as the country's existed. It's like a flagship. You know, it's like the main group conflict in America, if you ask me.
Okay, Dr. William James, go for it.
Okay, so while this may not be the response the majority of the time, I'm aware that some people do respond this way. The reason I think that some Black people may respond with bringing up white people when you say something like, oh, what about Black on Black crime, or Black people commit the highest percentage of crime, they may respond with bringing up white people or other races because they don't want to be singled out. So they want to point out the fact that other groups do similar activities, or they do other things that are harmful to communities or America in general. So they want to highlight that so that they're not the only group being placed in the negative.
Okay. Athena?
I don't know the reason why, but I see this a lot of times as soon as I discuss issues within women, they immediately say, well, men do XYZ. So I see it happen a lot. I think a lot of it is maybe not wanting to be seen in a bad light, maybe some guilt, maybe embarrassment, maybe not wanting to be singled out. The reason why that I'm not so sure, but I do see it. And multiple topics. So,
Donovan Sharp, introduce yourself and give a short intro, please, and then answer the question if you would bless us with your answer.
Oh my God, Jesus Christ, guys, I'm a nobody, man.
Oh, stop it!
Knock it off, man.
Oh, stop it! One of the OG
Man, the myth, the legend. Let's go.
The man who created Womanese. Oh, stop it! Oh, stop it!
Look, I'm going to give a pre-existing excuse if I'm not on my game today. I just got back from the Las Vegas Grand Prix about 6 hours ago. Life-changing experience. I know people don't care about it, but I have a profound respect for Formula One racing drivers. I can't even describe it. Anyway, this is simple. The reason why black people bring up what white people do when we talk about what black people do is because they know they lost the argument. And Athena was right. A lot of people bring, especially women, feminists, they bring up the what about the Mendo argument. And just like Smoothie Queen, she wouldn't answer the question, probably because she just doesn't know, and I wouldn't imagine that Smoothie Queen ever brings up white people do it too in your conversations because you're out in the black community trying to do positive things. When you're out doing what you're doing, white negativity or whatever the case may be, whatever white people are doing or not doing, in my opinion, doesn't really have anything to do with what you're doing in the black community. So that's probably the reason why you're a little bit at a loss because you're not doing it. Dr. William James characterized this as, some black people bring up the white people do it too argument. And it's probably, is it all black people? Certainly not. Is it most black people? Definitely not. But it's enough of them, and a lot of people say, well, not all women do X, Y, and Z. No, not all women are hoes. Most women are not hoes, but enough women are hoes to be getting our attention. And so and this is in any debate or conversation, when somebody feels that their points are sort of being defeated, they'll go from, just like what Doug said, they'll go from micro to macro. They'll say okay, well, I don't bring up, what white people do. Well, just because you're not bringing it up doesn't mean that enough isn't happening. And I'll end it with this. I hear all the time on my channel, well, white people do it too. Yeah, white people do it too. And a lot of times white people do it more and white people do it worse. And my response to that is two wrongs don't make it right. Just because white people do it too doesn't justify the fact that black people commit most violent crimes in this country, relative to the population.
I'm going to read a super chat really quick. You're welcome for the $15. Continue not understanding why people don't like you because of bad arguments and not being held accountable, especially black people recently. I don't know. I don't know how I will survive. Okay, next. When you think black, think modern woman. You criticize women. They say, what about the men? You criticize blacks. They say that. What about the whites? The black vote and women's vote is the same. No accountability.
Cool.
Yep, sounds about right to me.
Wait, actually, I guess I'm a little bit lost now because what's his name? I'm sorry. I think it was Mr. Sharp. You granted that it likely isn't even the majority of black people. However, it's enough for it to draw attention. Yeah. And someone earlier said that we're not using data or whatever, but we're using our eyes. I think that was Pearl. You said that. So if I'm saying that when I'm seeing these conversations that white people aren't really brought up, and it was Sharp. You said that when we're talking about, or excuse me, you said that whenever I'm doing the material work or whatever, that likely white people wouldn't be brought up. It sounds like the consensus is that this is not only not largely talked about, at least with the majority of black people, but it sounds like an online, phenomena. So with the question, why would the question even be like leading?
Yeah, I
with
think you're
presuming that this is
overcomplicating.
correct.
Honestly, I think you're
Or also agreeing
overcomplicating
that this
things
is
on
not rooted in any
purpose because you
data
don't
or
wanna answer the
science.
question. I think you're overcomplicating things and you're muddying the waters because you just don't want to answer the question. The question was, why do black people bring up the crimes of white people when white people talk about the crimes of black people? And I think, I mean,
You said it wasn't the majority, so why would we say that that's correct? You wasn't.
well, okay, that's fine. We can listen. We can play word games if we want to.
Oh, forget word games, but like, why would we?
Hold
say
on. I didn't say all. I didn't say most, but it's most certainly enough. Here's the thing: black people don't acknowledge. Here's the thing, man. I used to be a nigga. I used to get all in my feelings and emotions. I am a 4-time convicted felon of violent crimes. They were my fault. I was accountable, etc., etc. And until I finally just said, you know what, I could blame that this person got an attitude with me. No. The problem was this guy right here. Okay. I didn't learn emotional control. All right. I grew up with a very weak father, a very domineering mother. Now, my choices in life are my choices. I'm not blaming my choices on anybody but myself. But it would be disingenuous of me to at least not to acknowledge that my upbringing had a lot to do with the influence that my upbringing had in my mistakes. But until I actually sat myself down and said, you know what? You're the one messing this up. You're drinking too much. You're doing too much. You're doing too many drugs. You're getting emotional. You need to check yourself. You need to change yourself. Because when my homeboy actually told me, he's like, look, man, you're a good guy to be around, but sometimes it's really difficult to be your friend. I didn't fire back and say, well, most of the time I'm a good friend, because most of the time I was a good friend. But there were times where it's very, very difficult for some of my closest friends to be around me. And I think a lot of black people don't have a lot of outward self-awareness. Anytime somebody talks about, well, what is it, the statistic, 13% of, black people are 13% of the population, they commit 50% of the violent crimes. It's true, because I'm a part of that 50%. I don't get offended. I don't start trying to reword questions or purposefully try to avoid the question or talk about subjectivity. I just tell them straight. I'm just straight up with it. And it's interesting when we have these discussions, black people like yourself, you guys do like to play word games. Anytime someone talks about anecdotal experience, you say, okay, well, what about the statistics? Then if somebody comes with the statistics, okay, but that's not what I experienced. Or why don't you talk about your? There you
go.
That the fact of the matter is, and look, trust me, I understand when you're involved in behavior that people don't approve of. It sucks. It's embarrassing. And it was a lack of character for me. It was a lack of maturity. It was a lack of emotional maturity. But until I actually said, you know what, Donovan, you have a problem and it needs to be addressed, I would not have gotten to where I am now. But it appears that most black people, when you actually speak facts about black people, all they do is talk about, well, what about white fatigue?
Did you hear? Wait. Did you
stop interrupting?
You said most.
Don't interrupt me. No, I'm not going to let you do that. I will land.
Well, you interrupted me too. I didn't know that it was
I will let you talk
okay.
as much as you want. Okay. The bottom line here is this: black people need to be a little bit more self-aware, and we need to start admitting, yeah, you know what? The black community is absolutely fucked up right now. 75% of mothers in the black community, they're baby mamas. That's a problem. 3 out of 4 black women aren't married and will never be married. That's a problem. The average black woman in this country is 187 pounds. That's a problem. I was a violent, emotional asshole. That was the problem. I don't run from my problems, but the black community appears to say, okay, everyone is pointing out what we're doing wrong, but instead of looking inward and saying, okay, guys, we need to change these things. Well, what about white people? Well, what about them? Well, what about the school shooters? Okay, school shooters are school shooters are chastised by the white community, but criminals are glorified by the black community.
Because I have a whole bunch of questions. So Smoothie Queen, go ahead.
Yeah. So, I mean, in whatever you just said, you like verbatim said, most black people engage in this behavior, while you earlier differentiated the fact that you don't even believe the majority of black people engage in these behaviors. So at the very least, you talked about like, oh, people operating within their feelings when they feel defensive and talking about topics like this. If we're not going to operate off of feelings, we would have to operate off of data. If you want me to grant, for instance, that this is the reality just to engage with the conversation, I think it's important to make that clear instead of just like saying, yeah, I do leading questions. That's just what's going to have to be the reality. So I can grant that. Right. But you said earlier that this was most people. And then you said before then that it wasn't most black people. Do you remember saying that?
What I said and what I
I'm gonna
said
give
was
this 2
this.
more minutes because I have a bunch of more questions. Go
Oh,
ahead,
we can move
Donovan.
on. This isn't even like I didn't.
Can we hear from Athena?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
Athena, go ahead.
Athena?
Oh, I'm sorry. So I think I was just listening to y'all go back and forth, and also messaging people. But I think that if we look at maybe the reason why a lot of people are experiencing Black people not taking accountability for these types of things, we could look at the statistics on Black men not being in the homes, and we could dive into the reason for that. But men are the ones who are teaching accountability. So if you don't have a man in your home teaching you accountability, it's hard for you to understand that. And society has become so weak. Everyone wants their feelings spared for everything. Everything's about a safe space. The other day I was on a panel and the guy was like, oh, we should have areas where you have no a belief-free zone, I think is what he said, where you can't talk about any of your beliefs. And I was like, are we that far gone as a society that we can't even have these discussions, especially in person? People crash out online, but try to have this conversation in person and see how it goes. It's not going to end well.
So I think I actually do think it's most Black people. When you talk about Black crime, I would say the majority do say, what about the white people? It's just my experience. And the reason why is I think a lot of Black people are racist. So
Yep,
against white people.
And I think Black people are more racist in this country than white people.
My experience.
I agree too. But that's going to lead to the next
Could
question.
I respond to that?
Go ahead.
Okay, go ahead.
Because I would certainly say it's not the majority of Black people. In a response to what Donovan had said about he used to be a nigger, I never was a nigger. I grew up with my mother and my father, and I have 5 degrees and a terminal degree. Never was incarcerated. Have a license to carry in 35 states because I chose to do things a certain way. And when someone brings up, Black on Black crime to me, I don't need to, respond with bringing up white people, Asian people, any other demographic, because I know the facts. What I would ask someone to do when they bring it up is also bring up who's the most exonerated people. And then when you do things like that, it sort of gives you, a fair balance. So I don't need to bring anyone up. I also will ask people, how is data collected on crimes? Does anyone on this panel know how to collect the data for crime reports?
Let me ask you something. Do you not believe the statistics? Because, and see, here's the thing. Are we
going to be cutting each other off or not? Just
I've heard the statistics. I've heard the 13.
But are we going to be cutting each other off or not?
Donovan, go ahead.
We can rip.
I didn't land my plane. So
Okay, Dr. William, go ahead.
Yeah. So as far as the crimes and I forget where I was at. So just to go with what he said, believe in the statistics. I'm a researcher. I do my research. I don't just believe statistics on face value. You have to dive into statistics and you have to look for threats to validity. So I did that, and that's what I'm saying. I know how the data is collected. So I see threats to validity there. It's not something that you can just take because it doesn't come from. It's not just based off of. It's based off really just based off of arrests, and it's not based off convictions. And then you have to look at how the data is collected. So you have to look. It comes from the Uniform Crime Report, and the Uniform Crime Report comes from reports, and it's not from every police station. It's those who submit it. So it could be flawed data. And
that's why I always say that I agree with you. I think there is flaws in data, but to be honest, my first line of how I believe things is with my eyes.
Yeah.
And I just, if I go outside, I see more Black people that are criminals.
Yeah, data is fake often enough that I'm sorry, did I cut you off?
Go ahead, Homath, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. Data is fake often enough that if it conflicts with my understanding of the world, I just go with my understanding of the world, especially if it's something that everyone around me agrees with.
How do you debate and identify truth with that being the case?
It's extremely, extremely difficult. So
yeah, how would I debate a Pearl and for instance, how
I
could
don't.
I prove her wrong?
I don't debate. This is I just don't debate because people love to point to sources and then you have to question the sources. And it's like, I don't have time to read this 350-page document in the middle of the day. I haven't heard of it before.
Most people don't.
Yeah. And
that's
I
why
mean,
you do research.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I guess
right.
is
You
Before-
can do research if you have that. Like, I don't have any time to do that personally. I'm very busy with other
And
stuff.
when you grow up, you won't have time to do it either.
You're on a panel right now. This is for fun. Pearl's the only one getting paid for this. What do you mean you don't have time? Why would you even argue the point?
Do you want me to discuss my schedule, or are we
I'm
changing
sorry.
the subject?
I'm sorry.
So I'm not that much of a researcher, and I'm not that much of a debater. I know
You
how
guys
to
are-
do these things, but I don't engage in the whole "what are your sources" form of debate, because there's a video I did a short version of a long time ago about a study called, what was it? It was called "The Myth of Man the Hunter." Myth of Man the Hunter. And the way that this a piece of science starts out is by saying that it is a myth that men did the hunting and women actually did it too. If you actually read this thing, it describes that they had to go to like dozens and dozens of hunter-gatherer communities, and they asked them to tell stories, and the stories, only a small percentage of them included women hunting ever. So they didn't observe any women hunting. They only observed stories about women hunting, and it was only like hunting squirrels. So what they presented it as was women are equal hunters to men, but when you read their own data, it really confirms what we have already believed about it. It's the best example of the disconnect between how scientific papers are used to, spread ideas and what the truth actually is. So when we get into this whole thing about we're talking about data, I think that we got into data when you were asking, how do we even know that people bring up white people? When you say, well, let's talk about the black community, and then people bring up the white one. If I understood you correctly, your question was, how do we know people even do that? Was that right?
No, it wasn't. Oh, are you asking?
I also wanted to say, I think you're kind of easily manipulated if anybody can shove data in your face and you're just going to believe it.
Yeah.
So,
Do you believe that that's the case for me? Like, do you
I'm not
believe
sure.
that-
I don't really know you.
Okay, no, yeah, I agree.
Hold on.
Like,
Here's
how
the thing.
the white
I just
person
want to
showed
point
that,
out,
I
we
agree
still
that
haven't
nobody
answered
is
the question.
manipulated.
All the two of you, Dr. James and I don't want to get your name wrong, Smoothie Queen. All the two of you have done, which is fine, is talk about the question. We're sitting here talking about the conversation and the acquisition of data and this and that and the third. Let's have the conversation instead of talking about it. The prison system, I don't need the statistics to tell me that most people in prison are black. I don't need statistics to tell me that black people commit a disproportionate number of violent crimes. Is it most? I don't know. But I think that most of us have, and listen, we can do the passive aggressive and this and that and the third. At the end of the day,
I'm actually just confused.
I understand. I understand. At the end of the day, let's have the conversation. All we're doing is talking about, okay, well, let's talk about data acquisition. I don't even remember what the question was.
Do you honestly believe the majority of black people the majority of people in prison are black? Do you actually believe that? Sorry, that was
black people commit a disproportionate amount
the question
of crime.
was, do you believe the majority of people in prison are black?
Yes.
Why?
Well, that's crazy because there's not true.
I really want to understand why you believe that.
Well, because the data, the statistics all say so. And have you?
There's no data that says the majority of people in prison
you
are
just
black.
said that you weren't using that. You said without data.
Look. Just hear me out here, okay? I've been arrested, and I'm not proud to say this, okay? I've been arrested over 30 times.
He's
okay?
like, I've been there.
Yeah, I know. This is, but every time I'm locked up, and I've been, and I'm not trying to brag,
man.
every time I'm just keeping it real.
You're not gonna be able to come back to.
I'll just
no,
end
but
it.
he's making the point really nicely.
Guys, I'll just end it on this. I'm not, honestly, Dr. James and Smoothie Queen. I'll be honest with you. I'm not as smart as either one of you. Okay, I'm just a guy who sounds a lot smarter than he is. I got lucky and I made a good living on YouTube. Now I can pretty much do what I want. I'm one of those. I'm one of the lucky few. All I'm saying is let's have the conversation instead of talking about it, because anytime we dive in and try to manipulate the question to make ourselves look right, at the end of the day, do the two of you in the middle believe that that there is a problem with black people committing violent crimes? Yes or no?
So that wasn't the question.
Here we go.
Okay.
We're talking about the question.
Okay.
That's
okay.
okay. That's
I'm
fine.
gonna give a new question.
He said I didn't answer the first question, and I answered it.
Okay, I understand.
Okay.
We've been on this question for far too long, so I'm going to ask a new question. I want to start with.
Quickly, can I just point out that Black people make up 33% of the prison population in the United States of America? Not the
I
majority.
guess I was wrong. It's happened before. Okay.
Wait, why would you say that you're wrong?
Okay.
Wait, hold on. Are you seriously? So you're going to say, how do you know you're right?
You
And
just
how, like,
fucked
are you
data.
serious with it?
Wait, hold up. You said
Okay,
fuck data.
we're going to move on to the next
Okay.
question.
I don't
We've
even
been
know
on
what's
this far
happening.
too long. Okay.
God, crazy. Where did she go?
Okay.
Jesus Christ, man. Let's have the
Okay.
conversation. Let's
Okay.
like,
Too
what
low
are we
down.
Did she leave?
Okay. I want to hear from Pearl first,
God,
Math, Dr. James, Athena, Donovan. Okay. Why are white people wrong? Are white people wrong for being fatigued by Black people?
Who's first?
Pearl.
Oh, you wanted me to go first? No, I
Pearl,
don't think you're
Math,
wrong.
Athena.
Because I really don't think you can argue with the way what we've experienced. Like for me, I never really cared about race at all until Black people fatigued me. It wasn't until I really didn't care. I never paid attention. Then I had a Black person steal equipment from me. I never had a white person do that. Then I had a Black person make hit pieces on me that was personal friends with me, calling me a colonizer. Never had that happen from a white person. I actually had 2 Black YouTubers do that.
Gingrich's.
And then I had, I could just name all that. There was a guy in school who claimed he was profiled badly by police, but I knew him personally. And he, in fact, did illegal things like drinking underage and drugs, and then made it a big thing that like he was, oh no, I was profiled by the police. And so it's like, what am I supposed to do? Not notice?
Yeah.
Like, I haven't had the same experiences with white people.
Yeah.
And I lived in an all Black area. When I lived in the Black area, Black people would literally, there would be self-checkout and I would see them like,
Oh yeah.
they would have security. And in London, they don't really have enforcement laws there. Like it's pretty bad. So again, that's why I say it's not really all about data, because you could put data in front of me saying that's not a problem, but like, am I not supposed to notice it with my eyes?
Yeah.
It's also racist things Black people have said to me. So like I dated a Black guy, and when I was dating him, Black women said like pretty messed up stuff to me. Am I supposed to not like notice that? You know what I mean? So it's like, even when we don't see race, it kind of comes to us, and like, what are we supposed to do?
I'd like to say to Dr. James, I'm assuming your statistic is correct. I have no reason to doubt that. The fact that Black people make up 33% of the prison population, despite being only 13% of the population, to me, that's not a defeat of the argument, right? Okay, so the prison system is not mostly Black people. But it's almost the same argument as when people say, well, there are more white people on EBT and welfare than white people. Yes, there are. Statistically, per capita, a much higher percentage of Black people are on welfare and EBT than white people. You line up 100 Black people and 100 white people, the number of Black people on welfare EBT is going to dwarf the number of white people per 100. So I just wanted to go ahead and make that statistic. The short answer to the question that Doug MPA asked is, listen, white people have every reason to be Black fatigued. But I think that Black men like myself and Dr. James, I think that we have a bigger right to be Black fatigued, because it's the niggas in the street that make it hard for guys. And I'm not trying to compare myself to Dr. James. I don't have a doctorate. I dropped out in school. I was a chucklehead, whatever. But when you talk about stuff like this, it's the niggas that make men like myself. At least I can only speak for myself. That make men like me look bad. There's a reason why they lock up the Hennessy and not the Smirnoff. There's a reason why they lock up. I'm being straight up. There's a reason why when you go to the Black CVS, literally everything is locked up. There's a reason why I live in a gated community. There is a reason why things are the way they are. And we can, and again, we can sit here and we can try to talk nuance and try to finagle, statistics. At the end of the day, the eyes don't lie. The eyes don't lie. People see this stuff online. And I also find it very interesting that Black people like to say, well, this is just something you see on the internet. We say all the time, art reflects life. Everybody has a smartphone now. The internet is reality. What you are seeing on the internet, obviously the AI stuff notwithstanding, that I think is a pretty accurate depiction of the world. There is no hashtag white fatigue. As a matter of fact, white fatigue came to a head with the whole George Floyd thing. We talk about, well, what about white fatigue? We've been talking about white fatigue for the last 20 some odd years, but we didn't call it that. But now that people have smartphones and we're seeing the body cam footage, from the police videos, now we're starting to understand, oh, okay, I understand why things are the way they are.
Okay. Math, go ahead.
So the question itself, I think, reveals exactly what's going on here. You said, are white people wrong to be fatigued? Why would that ever be wrong? Why would we even question whether it's wrong how people feel about something? That okay. The question itself is, it's almost like saying, is it wrong for you to feel cold? We have this data that says it's not cold in here.
Right.
So you stop shivering. Oh, okay. Well, now I'm, right. It's like that when you're experiencing something, you know it. And then people tell you, oh, this data invalidates your experience. Go to hell. We're all experiencing it and we're all talking about it. We know what's going on. We share the information with each other. The fact that we can construct a question like that, is it wrong to feel a way about something, is kind of insane. We all know about political correctness. We all know it's gone off the rails. It has been extremely difficult. Like, I have issues based on not being able to say things that I really feel like I want to say. Oh, Smoothie Queen is back. Hi. I have, it's very difficult for me. I have a personality that's extreme in a few ways. If I can't tell the truth, and it's not necessarily that I have to be lying, but if someone says something and I have to be quiet about it, it really bothers me. And this particular issue has bothered me very deeply over the past few years. Like, the George Floyd time was very hard for me because it was just really obvious to me that it was another one of those things where it's being portrayed as if there's this totally innocent victim who's being just viciously murdered just for existing while black. But the reality is, a lot more complex, and, the guy got himself into a lot of trouble. And not being able to even say, this is what I feel about it, is like, that's insane. It's crazy that we live in conditions like that it's not even acceptable to talk about how you feel about an issue based on racial lines.
Okay. Dr. James?
Okay, so to address what Mr. Sharp said, you don't have to, have a doctorate to be intelligent. You can be autodidactic, and even if you being a criminal, that doesn't, mean much. Malcolm X was a criminal, and we know his history, and he was rather intelligent. When we look at Black people being 33% of the prison population, even though they make up 13% of the total population in America, you have to consider systemic racism, and you have to consider all of the facts. So I don't know exactly what we're talking about with the fatigue part of being fed up with something, but I do look at data, and I do look at facts, and I do analyze it. And I look at the type of sources, tier 1, tier 2, what type of sources of it, the credibility surrounding the source. So one of the reasons that we have to do this, because a key argument or key pushback when we look at the criminology and sentencing, we have to look at racial disparities. We all know about the racial disparities in sentencing that took place in the 80s and 90s, where they were given significantly more time to Black criminals for crack than they were to white criminals for cocaine. And we know that it's like 1 decimal of a chemical that separates the two drugs. All right, that's systemic. But furthermore, I'll read this to you. According to a 2014 article in the Washington Post by Christopher Ingram, Blacks are far more likely to be arrested for selling or possessing drugs than whites, even though whites use drugs at the same rate. And whites are actually more likely to sell drugs. Whites were about 45% more likely than Blacks to sell drugs in 1980, according to an analysis of National Longitudinal Survey of Youth by economist Robert Farley. Furthermore, in 1995, Dr. Patrick A. Langan conducted research addressing the racial disparity in United States drug arrests, and he found that whites were more likely than Blacks to sell drugs. Annually, the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Service Administration of the Public Health Service surveys illicit drugs use through face-to-face interviews with members of American households. According to FBI data from 1991 to 1993, white people made up 50% of the people arrested for selling drugs. Black people made up 49%, and other racial groups made up 1%. According to 1991 through 1993, the SAMHSA survey data, blacks were arrested. 16% of blacks were arrested for selling drugs, and 82% of whites were arrested for selling drugs. Blacks are 49% of arrests for selling drugs, but only 16% of admitted drug sellers, a disparity of 33 percentage points. A threat to validity in this data is the fact that it is based on the honesty of those who are arrested. However, the difference is 66%, and you can't base that off honesty alone. So it shows systemic racism that has taken place in policing and sentencing and racial disparities, which can account for why those black people are in prison at such a higher rate.
I have a question.
Real quick, I have two real quick things. Number one, you're talking about stories and statistics from 30 years ago. This is 2025, my guy. This ain't 1993. Number two, how about don't possess or sell drugs? How about that?
Okay.
I have a question. How does this relate to prior arrests and convictions? Because I'm not studied on this, but I heard that the reason that there is a disparity in sentencing and convictions is because the blacks who were selling drugs or possessing drugs had more arrests for other things previously.
Dr. James, would you mind if I answered that?
Sure, but I could easily point that out. I could while you answer it, I could get the stat to debunk it. Go ahead.
Oh no, my answer is really interesting actually. So largely when this discussion is being had about like why these sentencing or like why the prison rate is what it is, people don't know about the history of mandatory minimum sentencing and the fact that it still exists right now. So you mentioned, Mr. Sharp, that you mentioned that this is like 30 years old or whatever. We still have mandatory minimum sentencing that exists right now, like for
how about not break
crimes.
How about we don't break the law? Then we don't have to worry about the.
Wait, no, but so once again, like you asked.
No, that's
I could show you this.
If we're discussing, go ahead.
I could show you guys.
That was the point anyway. So I think Dr. I mean, that's fine.
I could. God.
I was curious what the rebuttal was to that.
Oh, I have the rebuttal if you're ready.
Yeah, I'm ready to hear it.
I could show you. All right, guys.
You're not muted, Smoothie Queen. What are you talking about?
Can I read the rebuttal?
It just sounds like the two of you are making sounds like the two of you are making excuses.
Okay.
Hold on, Doug. You gotta moderate better. So if
we just like fairly apply, like
I want to keep people on the question as to.
I just want to answer a question. Really, hold on, guys. I just want to answer you said the sentencing disparities.
Yeah.
Hold on. I'm gonna show you guys a video.
Oh, just to clear, I said mandatory minimum sentencing. That's a specific thing.
All right, here we go.
At the podium.
I think.
What exactly are you wearing?
I'm sorry.
Look like you have a swimsuit on to me.
No, it's not a swimsuit, and I did not know this was a court date. I just told the lady back there that I'm not dressed properly for court at all.
Really? Yes, you are not. I agree with that 100%. That's very insulting to me that you would come into my courtroom dressed like that.
I apologize. I had no idea it was in as a visit and not a court date. So I was unaware that this was a court date. Because she wrote on the back of the car a visit. So it was never said that this was a court date.
All right.
Yeah, sometimes there's just like a lack of basic decorum.
There's a lot of factors involved in the.
If I can say something real fast,
like even in this, honestly, even in this conversation, it's like.
Here's
it's just a bunch of excuses being made.
Here's the thing. There's certain things about black fatigue that you can't quantify. One of my friends was like, "Oh yeah, the biggest problem is that the white people in flyover states that they don't experience the inner city culture and the crime that are in the cities. But black fatigue is more than that. It's about you be in Boise, Idaho, at a Whole Foods where there aren't a lot of black people, but the 3 or 4 black people in the Whole Foods are yelling and screaming at everybody." Loud and taking up everybody's space and determine the peace. You can't quantify that, but people are tired of it. It's not just about crime. It's about disturbing the peace, making noise, taking up space, That is the biggest problem, and that's what people you can't
The
quantify.
daily experience.
Yeah, and that's the thing is like you can kind of like slice the data which way, but you're not going to take away what people see with their eyes. And
I
it's
agree
just
with
like,
Home Math. I
it's
think
just like even in this conversation, it's like Athena's being really polite. I'm being polite. The only one with an attitude is Smoothie Queen.
Do I sound like that?
Like, and it's just like
Smoothie Queen definitely has
it's
an
like-
attitude. It's a very
yeah,
passive.
it's very obvious, and and then I just get more fatigued, and I'm like, you guys proved my point. I tried to do a panel with black people that crashed
But
out.
to be fair though, I did cut off Dr. James. I did want him to at least.
Yeah, but see, if it was a white girl, she would just
but
say,
it's
I'm
not.
so sorry. Like
but you're
that's
not
how it would
directing
go.
You're not
And that's what I
directing-
mean.
Could you repeat that?
I said you're not the one directing the conversation, and you have to stop saying I and me on a panel. You don't want to do that. Dr. William James, I'm gonna give you 2 minutes to respond if you're reading stats, because
Yeah, I won't need more than 2 minutes. Probably not more than a minute.
Okay, go for it.
He brought up we want to make sure that he brought up priors and stuff. We want to make sure everything is equal. So a year-long Herald Tribune investigation used 2 databases, one compiled by court checks and the other by the Department of Corrections, to find the racial inequalities in criminal sentencing are rampant throughout Florida. So this is specifically in Florida.
Right.
Blacks spend more time behind bars than whites who score the same number of points on the state sentencing guidelines. So these are people, when you compare apples to apples, oranges to oranges, Black people get sentenced more harshly. You want more specifically for you, one judge, Judge Sherwood Bauer Jr., Bauer is spelled Bauer Jr., went viral for his clear racial bias in sentencing Black criminals opposed to white criminals. Judge Sherwood is a white judge who had 2 men in his courtroom 1 year apart for the exact same crime. Charles Leitner was 19 when he robbed 3 men in a 2008 drug deal. Lamar Lloyd was 21 when he robbed a Pizza Hut and a gas station the following year. Both men pleaded no contest, 2 counts of armed robbery. They were before the same judge in the same courthouse. Each had a single misdemeanor on their record. They tallied the exact same points on the score sheet used to determine criminal punishment in Florida, but their sentences could not have been more different. Leitner spent less than 2 years in a county jail. He is now free to golf and fish on the weekends.
Okay.
Lloyd got 26 years in prison.
Yeah, what are these
I
rulings?
want to
That's
respond
killing
to
this
that.
thing here.
I
Go
want to
ahead.
respond to that. Again, so these are like, it's kind of like the nerds always come in, and I mean that like, I don't mean that to be disrespectful, but they come in and they say, believe my facts, data, and statistics. And
Yeah,
then it
and
still
then they say,
goes
where
back
do you get yours
to-
from?
and it still goes back to, I, to some degree, have to believe what I see with my eyes. I want to share.
It's
Okay, hold
impossible
on.
to believe.
I want to share something. Hold on, let me.
And here's the thing. I
Hold on,
agree
hold
with
on,
Donovan, hold on,
Donovan,
hold on, hold on,
Donovan,
hold
one
on.
second.
Black people do
Donovan,
get longer.
Donovan, one
Donovan, hold
second.
on,
Donovan,
hold
one
on.
second. I just want to play something.
Other news.
Let's see. In Chicago.
Oh God, here we go, Chicago.
Yeah. Yeah. No, because you could say, oh, Black people are arrested. There's literally a guy in Chicago that's punching women in the face.
Yeah.
And I think he finally got arrested, but he literally punched like 5 women.
Now, a serial puncher
He was arrested
with a
like 10
history
other
of
times, too.
unprovoked attacks
Bruh.
downtown faces
So,
new charges now.
Yeah, William Livingston is accused of attacking 2 more women in June. WGN's Courtney Spinelli is near the Cook County Jail where he is being held tonight.
32-year-old William Livingston is no stranger to the Cook County Jail. In fact, he was already behind bars in an alleged attack on Kathleen Miles of Lake Villa when he was arrested again yesterday on new charges.
All I can think of is it takes so much anger to hit somebody with so much force.
This summer, Miles became the latest victim of an attack allegedly at the hands of Livingston. The mother of
And I'm from this area. This was like not in a bad area. Like he just was walking around, and they would have him on TikTok. Like I knew girls filming him, and he's like walking. They're like, "That's."
I've seen that so many times in
Well,
real
and
life.
it's like you could say, "Oh, Black people are so oppressed," and this isn't just one example. The guy who stabbed the girl on the train had also been arrested, and they let him out.
Yeah.
So
you
it's
saw
like,
that
and even then I go to my personal life and I'm like, well, I've had so many white people around my equipment and a Black person stole something.
Yeah.
It's like I do these panels all the time.
You
you
ever
know,
been to Atlanta?
I want to
Pearl?
pose a question to everyone. And I'm not saying, because I don't think I've done enough research on this, but you said that Black people are essentially, they get more time. So I would have to do a lot of research to figure out why. But do you think maybe if fathers aren't in the home and there are people who lack accountability, that judges can also see that and get really upset that someone has an attitude and they're angry, they're unapologetic, and they're lacking any sort of accountability? Do you think that could possibly be it?
That's
Part of
probably
it, not
part
all of it. I understand there are racist judges.
Judges
There's racist people everywhere. I'm just asking, I'm giving a little bit of pushback to see your thoughts on that.
Judges are people too. They get emotional just like everybody else.
If you're asking me, if for it to be for a whole state, which the data was for Florida, that's kind of ridiculous. And then with the same cases of a 19-year-old and a 21-year-old with the same point scale and 2 years in comparison to 26, that's a very wide margin in sentencing based off someone not showing remorse or whatever it is. And it wasn't even, armed robbery. It wasn't even a violent crime where, when we're talking about like showing remorse or something like that. And they were young. So like, if we just go with what I said, that doesn't even, judges have to be professional and show discretion. So even if,
I agree with that.
this person's not showing remorse, if it's a homicide and they're not showing remorse, I understand. But if it's you stole something from Pizza Hut or you went joyriding or certain things, and the sentencing is always more harsh on the Black person than the white person, that's crazy. That's systemic racism.
I agree.
Well,
How do you?
Wait.
I know, but what always tends to happen is like Black people will come out with a stat that's saying they're oppressed, or like that a bad thing happened, like, or like, with like BLM, like they said, oh, this is racism, and then it just always turns out to not be racism. Like there always just seems to be a catch. And you could shake your head. I'm just saying it's lived experience.
I just want to say I'm against BLM. I was not a BLM.
Yeah, no. But I'm saying like this is why you're gonna have a hard time getting white people to really give
the term
anymore, because it's like
the term systemic.
We've just been duped.
Hold on.
We've just been duped. We've just been duped too many times. Where it's like this is the problem, and there's always a catch.
We're gonna do whole math, and then Tom Fooley, I want you to introduce yourself, and we're gonna ask you the question, and then we're gonna move on to the next one. Whole math, go ahead.
I kind of lost my place in the chatter. It was something about how do you identify every single contributing factor to the result of disparate sentencing. Like this is again another thing that it would take me like weeks of studying to understand, and we're expecting everybody to make a judgment on that in 10 seconds while we hear it on a podcast.
Okay.
It's very difficult to reconcile this idea of like Black people get heavier sentencing than white people for the same crime, but what are all of the factors? How is that possible to identify?
I think I agree with Dr. James in that judges shouldn't let the extenuating circumstances of nonviolent crimes, factor into their sentencing. But again, judges are people too. Just because they should doesn't mean they do. We say all the time, women should reward men for being loyal and supportive, but a disproportionate number of women don't. This is the reason why we talk. This is the reason why we talk about these things.
Judges,
but the bottom line is, I'm just going to go with what Homath said. Here's the bottom line. Black fatigue is white people and other people saying it's cold outside. And then we have Black people coming out here saying exactly what Homath said. Well, wait a minute, statistics and studies and blah, 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 blah. Stop being cold and get warm. Black fatigue didn't just come out of nowhere, and it just appears that a disproportionate number of Black people are just making excuses. And one last thing, I agree with Dr. James. Yes, Black people get sentenced to longer and harsher sentences. I'm going to repeat this again. Don't commit crimes. If you don't, let me make a sports reference. A lot of people say, well, this team got screwed over because of that one call. And that may be true, but if you played the game to the best of your ability, you don't want to put it in the referee's hands. You want to take care of your business through the whole game. That way, if there is a questionable call, you'll have a big enough lead to absorb the bad call. Well,
Okay.
if you know that black people are getting harsher sentences for the same crimes, how about we not commit those crimes?
Okay. Tomfoolery, introduce yourself real fast, and I'll give you 2 minutes because I want to move on to the next question. Is it wrong for white people to have black fatigue? Introduce yourself and then answer the question in 2 minutes because I want to move on to the next question.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Thanks for having me. My name's Tom. I go by Tomfoolery Show, stream on YouTube, do politics and debates. I think that the term black fatigue is kind of a little bit too broad. I think the term kind of encapsulates all black people in a way that I think is kind of unfair, especially when we're bringing up things like crime statistics. When it's
nigga fatigue.
Sorry?
It's nigga fatigue. That's what it is.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead, Tom.
Well, it's it's a minority of the black community. It's about 16% go to jail at some point, and it is brought up that like they even black people who do go to jail, they tend to get sentenced. They're more likely to be sentenced, more likely to go to prison, more likely to have longer sentences, more likely to have their crimes upgraded. White people are more likely to have their crimes downgraded. And this is for the same amount of priors with the same circumstances, just as likely that if you have a paid lawyer versus a court-appointed lawyer. There's a study by the USCC that has like all of the circumstances surrounding their cases showing by different grids which ones were more likely or less likely, and that black people were always going to get 9% more time almost every single time for all cases. And then there's more studies on federal cases as well that show that similar circumstances, black men tend to get longer longer periods of time.
Okay. And Smoothie Queen asked for 2 minutes to answer the question, so
I won't need
go
2
for it.
minutes. Don't worry about that. But there's two things that I at least do want to kind of emphasize. At least answering the question, right? Is it right or wrong for white people to have black fatigue? I just want to emphasize really fast that black fatigue, like that, the way that it's being discussed, like colloquially at least, is not where the term came from. It was coined by a specific person. It was coined by a black woman, actually, who was discussing the impacts, the physiological and physical impacts of living within a racist society. So there's studies like done by West Virginia when they were trying to
That's
research.
entirely irrelevant.
Oh, I'm sorry. So the reason why it's not is because I think it was actually, I'm not sure if it was Tom or Sharp, but like they talked about like where the term came from and what it actually means.
What does it matter where the term came from? We're
Where-
talking about
okay,
how
what do we
people
do, guys,
feel.
Guys,
But you're not
guys,
answering the question, though.
I have no, guys, like I will not. cut
You're
anyone else off.
derailing the question. We're
But just-
talking
but
about
just
the
wait,
the
just
entire
let-
panel tonight is about how
Smith,
people
Smith, let's-
feel.
Okay.
I was-
Okay.
okay. Wait, guys.
Answer the question. You
I'm
have 1 minute.
trying to, but
Uh-huh.
like
Go
I'm
ahead.
not
Go ahead.
actually.
Yeah, this is what's wrong with you.
We can
people.
move on to the next
Yeah.
question. That's fine.
Okay. Next question.
Incredible.
So looking at the panel, looking at the beginning of the show, the biggest thing that set the panel off, and this is a relationship channel. Pearl
Uh-oh.
talks about intersexual dynamics between men and women. So I'm gonna ask this question. Okay, why do so many black women have herpes? And how do women with such a high how are men supposed to navigate in sexual relationships and dating with a group of women that have a 50% herpes rate, which is an incurable STD?
You date snow bunnies.
Oh,
That's
snap. Who wants to go first?
I think so. Go ahead. Sorry, Dr.
Okay.
James.
I'll go first. How about that?
Let's
guys,
go, Doug.
guys, I always say, I say on my channel, American black women are the worst women on the planet.
Straight up.
Not all, but maybe 80%. Guys, you have to be careful out there. You really do. No men on the planet have worse women to choose from, and there are factors why, and this is one of the biggest reasons why. The sexual irresponsibility, guys. You have to be careful, and you have to stay safe. Protect yourself at all times. Protection, and if it doesn't seem right, especially nowadays. In a lot of majority black areas, a lot of black women will get insulted if you whip out a condom. They'll say, "What? You think that I'm dirty?" You say yes. Put on a condom if you choose to deal with them.
That
I'm all
doesn't
about
stop
passports
herpes.
and waiting out.
You can still get herpes.
Don't- yeah, they-
It
Yeah.
is like mitigated though. So just could I respond or would
Okay,
you
go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, two things, right? Like if we're gonna mention studies, it's we either like do or don't, right? Because like the 50% that was between like 2005 and 2008. And like the CDC shows now, at least, that like Black women make up, about 38%, 34%, 34.6% of Black women in America have herpes. But moreover, this is like less than like the global, like, like 67% of like all like around.
You think
the
that like makes it
But we
sound
live in
better?
America. We don't live around the world.
Do you
No,
think that
but
makes it
wait, so
better?
do we know why I said that, or are we just trying to respond?
Oh,
Yes,
my God.
responding to yes, there it is.
I'm just gonna kick you because I find you annoying.
Dude, she's
Sorry.
Here's the
Dude,
thing.
she
Pearl
never-
asked. Hold on.
I'm
Hold
sorry,
on. Pearl,
This is my
Pearl,
show.
cut her off.
If I
I
find
said,
you
look.
annoying enough, I'll just kick you. Sorry.
Yeah.
She's not a
Pearl
not a
kicked
great
her.
contributor. She derails everything.
Yeah, I said
These
bring her
two
back
people
on
make
because
a
I
point.
wanted to see her reaction to the herpes question, and she did exactly what I thought that she
There you go. Well, what you have to understand, I'll actually answer for. Well, you have to understand is the definition of herpes was invented back in 1841 by a black person. Get the fuck out of here. And here's the thing.
No
I'll
direct
actually
answers
answer
at
the
all.
question. I'll actually answer the question. How do you navigate? Let me get things back on track. How do you navigate a sexual marketplace? And I can't believe I'm saying this, where STD rates amongst all women appear to be higher than it's worth, pursuing. Guys, you got to use common sense, man. Watch her activities. Is she a hoe or is she not? Is she showing her body on Instagram? The chances are she's going to have a higher likely of having an STD than not. Somebody in the chat obviously said, well, white girls have STDs too. Yeah, not nearly as much of a rate as Black women. Dude, I swear to God, dude, Black women, I think sometimes it's almost like they're born pregnant. It's almost like they're born like the promiscuity in the so-called Black community. It's absolutely ridiculous, and this is why 75% of Black women are baby mamas. Dude, listen, man. At the end of the day, we can sit here and deny and obfuscate and try to muddy the waters, but just like Pearl and Homath says, we see what we see, and we can sit here and we can talk about the internet like it's this magical land of make believe. No, the internet is a glimpse of what's happening in real life.
Okay. Go ahead.
I was hoping to hear more from Dr. William James.
Yeah, sure. I'm just very disciplined and I wait my turn.
Yeah, no, you've been great. So I was just curious, maybe it's kind of going back to something that I said before. We were talking about, because you keep bringing up facts, data, and statistics, but I think most of the fatigue really comes with like interactions with Black people.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think it's like people watching the news. It's like for me, I got fatigued. I said where Black people treated me a certain way, and I was very nice to them.
Yeah, Pearl.
So
no, I'm serious. I'm like, I doubled this guy's subscribers just for him to like crash out.
Oh yeah.
Like,
I'm not sure what instances you're talking about.
I'm
Like,
sure of it.
who are you
Just from her
referring to
story,
you
I
doubled
recognize
their-
the behavior.
Who are you referring to? You doubled their subscribers, and
Mhm.
they did that to you?
Yeah, he was my I thought we were friends. Like, I literally, I was so.
King Richie's?
Yeah. I
No.
I'm
That's
not,
not
I
gonna
don't
name
wanna- I
him
don't
on
wanna
the
say
channel.
it,
We're not going to name him.
But
okay.
just because I refuse to speak his name. No, but
I
you
think
were
what
like,
Dr. James was trying
you
to
were-
do. I
wait,
think
Donovan, I really want to.
hold
I
on,
really
hold
want to. Donovan, I really want to finish. No, I mean, it was just like we were friends, and then one day he just decided to make a hit piece, and he accused me of like trying to get footage of Black people and like hold it over their heads. I never did that, and it was kind of crazy because he had like footage of me at like at one of, I don't know, like behind the scenes that he like put in the video, and he put like people that were behind the scenes on camera that weren't even like public figure. Like it was just a full on crash out that happened twice. Another person that worked for me stole from me. And that was a Black person. Like, and these are 3 different people, all
That
Black.
upset
They
me.
weren't even from the same country. American Black, British Black.
Yeah.
And so, it's obviously, I know it's not all, and I think as adults we can like figure out that that's not everyone, but
Yeah.
I just don't really understand how you don't know what we're talking about. Like,
Well,
you've
they're
never
Play
been
that
to-
Instagram I sent you, Pearl. It sums up exactly what you're saying.
So, in response to that, that's like you said, that's not the data, facts, and stats. And I don't know I think everyone has noticed I like to deal with the data, facts, and statistics. And, I've seen your podcast, with response to talking about women, and you focus on the data, facts, and statistics. With anecdotal, evidence and anecdotal experiences, I'm sure we can all pick out people from opposite races who have done things negatively to us. I know I sure could if I wanted to, but I'm not going to pick out anecdotal evidence and say I have these 3 white people that did this, these 3 Asian people that did this. Oh, I'm fatigued with that racial category. So that's where
Well, it's more than 3. I would actually say it's way more than 3.
It's
Oh
like
my God, it's so
hundreds and
much more.
hundreds in my
Oh my
opinion.
God, it's more than 3.
I mean, I don't know how many you can name, but I if I wanted to and sit down in my years of life, I'm 36 years old now, I could come up with a lot for pretty much every racial category based
Can
off
I ask
of,
Dr. James a quick
life
question?
I've done.
Dr. James, can we agree that there is a problem in the Black community? Can we just agree on that simple fact?
There is.
Okay.
And in my book, I talk about solutions. That's the thing.
Okay.
When Pearl had said something very interesting not too long ago, where she said, when she mentioned BLM, she said, we've been duped so many times that it's hard to believe, some of the data and stuff like that about Black oppression. And it's the same thing from the Black perspective with we've been duped so many times in terms of, our actual oppression or what's going to benefit us. Well, an example could be, the Tuskegee experiment. We've been duped so many times that when you tell us something's going to benefit us or something's better for us, or the Black community is so bad, we have to wonder, is this some form of an agenda? However, yes, there are several problems we need to fix in the Black community.
That's from 1932.
Gangbanging, drugs, these negative agendas that they push with the rap music, all of that needs to be fixed.
Yeah.
And I'm a person who I want to fix it, and I promote fixing it. But I'm also aware that actual systemic things have taken place, and I want to, alert people to that it's not over with, it's still taking place. So like even with the Tuskegee experiment that Pearl said, it was 1932, that went on for 40 years. And those men,
I know, but why are we living in the past?
70s.
No, but the last person from that study didn't die till like 2014.
No, but it wasn't you. We're talking about what you've experienced.
Yeah,
no, we haven't. You want
Okay.
what I've experienced with racism? We want to talk about that?
Dude, you're a
No,
doctor.
not yet.
Man. What are we doing?
I want to stay
I can
on
talk
the
about
question.
that.
I want to stay on the question. Athena, how do men navigate dating and mating with a group of women where 50% of them have an incurable STD?
Jesus.
That is a good question. I think
I
it's
know.
really bad amongst all women. I think it was you, Pearl. You said 1 out of 3 women have had an STD. And that's pretty horrifying. And 50% is I'm kind of at a loss for words. Actually, it was the last panel that I heard that stat. That was the first time I heard that. That's I don't have much to say on it because I don't know how to navigate that outside of just getting tested, not even having casual. I don't advocate for anyone to have casual sex. I think that people should, if they're going to have sex, be in committed relationships, get tested, do those things. I know it's probably not the most romantic, but it's the safest thing that you can do.
Right.
Okay. And tomfoolery, what do you have? How would it be navigate a dating market where 50% of the women of their group have an incurable STD?
It's kind of hard to consider. There do seem to be a lot of factors. One, the fact that Black men are more likely to mate with Black women. That's who they live around. That's who is in their community, and so they're more likely to engage with one another. And so when a virus is spreading within a group, it is more likely to be more prevalent within that group. And so there are studies that say that Black women happen to be more susceptible to herpes as well, and so I don't know
Okay,
how
so that's how we got
people are
here, but what's
capable
the
of
solution?
engaging. I don't know how
I
you
have
can
one.
get what do you think the solution is? Just not
Avoid them.
meeting with Black women
Yep.
anymore? Or, yeah,
Ask for it.
well, I did
Exactly
want
it. Yes,
I
that's
did
exactly
want
it.
to address because a number of people keep saying like this is more about like our feelings than it is anything else. But I would hope that like we as, logical thinkers, as sapiens, would want our feelings to align with reality, and that if we find out that we have like a bunch of anecdotal experiences where every time I engage with a Christian, they're rude, they're mean, they're very judgmental, they talk down to me, that if all over time I start to feel as though Christians are all a bunch of pieces of shit, but then I realize that data says that I don't know, most Christians are very nice and most people have good experiences with Christians. I've just had like my own odd anecdotal experiences. I would want to look at that data and compare that. But I think, Homath, you've said a number of times that this is just a conversation about feelings and that we can't say that our feelings are invalid. But if your feelings don't align with reality, then aren't they invalid?
Well, it's a very complicated question. It's what's been happening for hundreds of years, ever since Black people were, brought from Africa to America, is white people have been moving away from, like, every time about 20% of a neighborhood becomes Black, the white people all move out. Black people move into white areas and white people move away. This is extremely consistent. There's never been any trend of Black people saying like, oh, white people are moving in. Oh, this sucks. Let's get out of here. But it's the other way around is what happens all the time. So there's one group that's trying to be separate and one group that's trying to not be separate. And this is the basis of the conversation, is like, should we be allowed to draw borders around ourselves and be separate? And our government says no, and pop culture says no, and political correctness says no. But it's like, are we allowed to live the way that we want or not?
Well, the majority of like white flight happened before the 60s. And what I hear most people say is that Black families were better off, that like there was higher rates of marriage, higher rates of fathers in the household. And so, but white people were still moving away. And even from what we know, it did seem to be because of racism, not because of crime or any, STDs or anything like that. But I don't think that that's the case today. I think that today it's trending in a different direction. But even when we bring up terms like systemic racism, people think that this means people are being racist, which technically it doesn't mean any person is racist or being racist. It's about like the way that a system works and then the disproportionate outcomes within the data.
I think systemic racism is a word that people that don't really have jobs use.
Yep. No, it's a white liberal.
It's an academic people that are
it's an academic term.
But academics don't really like. I feel like most of them are kind of useless, to be honest.
Yeah,
systemic
jobs, right? Came up with freaking Latinx, and like 97% of people of Latin heritage hate that word, but they use these words to try and recreate reality. No, white academics, period, but especially white liberal academics. Come on now. No.
It's systemic racism. The term systemic racism is like, is the weather racist? And so how do white people have to suffer because of
systemic racism is what intellectuals, it's the excuse that intellectuals use to justify nigga behavior. That's it.
It's not a justification.
Hold on. Let me finish. It is a justification, because I just watched Dr. James sit here right now and say, well, yes, there are problems in X, Y, and Z, but it's because of systemic racism has a factor in that. When you say, okay, I understand that there are problems in the Black community, but then there is a but, what you're doing is you are giving niggas the excuse. Well, the reason why I committed this, I actually had one dude call up in my show and tell me that stress was passed down from your genetics from one generation to the next. And I could not believe what I was hearing. And this guy called himself educated. The bottom line for me is this: only in America can you do what you do. And I would encourage anyone. I've been around the world. I've been to like 20 something countries, man. Black people, American Black people, we have it the best right here. Okay. I'm a 4-time convicted felon. I would not be able to accomplish what I've accomplished in any other country but here. I'm a Black man, and yes, I've made mistakes. And yeah, are there some racist cops and racist judges out there? Absolutely. But you want to know how I avoided racist cops and racist judges? I quit committing fucking crimes. That's what I did. In order to keep from getting screwed over by a bad call from the referees, I got my ducks in a row. I played my perfect game. I didn't get penalties. I didn't get offsides.
Okay.
I did what I had to do. That way, when I did get screwed over on that penalty, no big deal. We're up by 21 anyway. The way I stay out of trouble is I simply do not commit crimes. And here is the ultimate factor in terms
You
of
got like
black
20
community.
more seconds, Donovan, because I want to move to the next question. Go
Okay,
ahead.
real quick. We all know that the black mecca is Atlanta, Georgia. Okay, this is where most black people and niggas are. If you go to any store in Atlanta, everything is locked up, everything is boarded up. There's a reason for that.
Well, can I respond to that?
Just real
Because I
fast,
feel like
real
this is
fast.
a really important
Pearl,
thing to
you going to
parse.
read super chats? Because there's like a lot of them.
Yeah, I'm gonna read out. Okay, hold on. Give me.
Portia does
Let,
that
let,
like the
let
video,
him. Let
subscribe
him
to the channel.
respond. Well, let him respond while I pull up the supers.
Yeah, can I respond since I was mentioned?
Yeah. Go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, because I didn't say what he said. I said, however, when we look up, real issues that take place in the black community, there is no but. I said we need. I
You did
talk
say
about
but.
this. No,
Yeah,
you probably
Donovan, let him
didn't
talk.
hear- you
Let him talk.
probably didn't hear what followed.
Donovan, go ahead. Go ahead. No,
We have to look at the
Talk through, go ahead.
solutions. And I said I'm one who goes hard on. I talk about the gang banging, I talk about the drugs, I talk about the music that is being promoted in our communities, and that has to be fixed. The only part where I said the but is when I was talking about the duped part in reference to what Pearl has said, and I spoke about that. When we look at systemic racism, it's a real thing. When you see that Wells Fargo just got sued for they're discriminating in who they hire and who they allow to bank there. That's systemically racist. If you look at policing, who they hire, Long Island, New York, look it up. 6,700 black cops went through the process from 2020 to 2023. 6,700 went through the process and only 67 were hired. They were disqualified off of a psychiatric exam, which is not objective. It's a professional opinion. None of the black officers who were disqualified by the psychiatrist, none of them were disqualified by a black psychiatrist.
I went to.
Well,
I used
the-
to work in. I used
Sorry.
to work in corporate America, and there was a guy I worked with who was black, and he literally, we were in sales and we had to make like 50 calls a day or something like that.
Woo.
And he literally would call fax lines. A grown man, he would call fax lines instead of phone numbers. And you know what? They couldn't fire him for 8 months. So I don't know. I think that if you're somebody, I think a lot of academics like to feel really smart. So they like put studies that are funded by God knows who, and it'll tell you God knows what. I do reference facts, data, and statistics at times, but I do think it's important that it's backed up by real life experience, because if it's not, then anybody can just put anything in front of you and you'll just believe it. So do I believe that there's really discrimination in America? Not at all, to be honest. I actually think black people have it a lot easier. There's a lot of then I go back to high school, right? There's a guy who got like a 28 on his ACT. He was black and got into Notre Dame. The white kid who got like a 33 got denied. The woman who got a 30 got in. And so it's like these experiences just happen over and over. I understand that some people are saying that could be anecdotal. I think anecdotal could be a one-time thing. And again, I can tell you story after story after story. Like I could go on. I used to live in a black area. And when you live in like a place that's like 50 to 80% black people, you just notice a lot of differences in the way that as groups people live. There's a lot of things I didn't really appreciate about white culture until I lived amongst black people. And I don't really think I'm wrong for having those opinions. I know it's not all, but I've actually noticed in life that the more you have to say not all about somebody, the more they are like that.
Yep.
Like you say not all women are whores, they're usually more likely to be whores.
That's why I wanted
So
to
it's
parse
like,
the language,
you
is
know,
because
so,
like,
again, I understand that like black people, and like I just don't see any systemic. The only thing that maybe could happen that like is arguably systemic is like if I hired a black person, and that black person stole from me, and then the other one did a hit piece on me. Ideally, maybe you'd be less likely to hire Black people in the future because they've just caused so many problems. But against all odds, I'm still an equal opportunity employer. Shocking. Kentucky PA is still here, but
I'll add to this real fast. In my experience, in academic and professional setting, my worst enemy has always been another Black person. When you have Black people working for you, they hate the white people and the Black people.
Yep.
There's no unity amongst Black. So they hired more Black cops. They would hate the white people and each other. Honestly.
Yeah, I agree. I'll read the super chats really quick. Christopher, I'd rather be here with you nerds than smoking weed. Anonymous base, big W to Donovan for the accountability. John Gal, I can show you real life clips of my Black tenants that would blow my mind. If you want to, you can DM me Pearly things on Twitter with a Z. If you want to come up. And Attorney Andrew, I sent you a link if you want to come up. Fully 1/3 of fatigue males have had a felony conviction. 1/3. You'd have to be insane to live in that community unless you have to. Yeah, that's the other thing. It's like if white people are so racist and terrible, like why do Black people keep trying to live by us? Another example. I lived in a white neighborhood my entire life. 2 doors down from us, Black people moved in. And there was literally a shooting in my neighborhood, which is one of the largest retirement neighborhoods in the Midwest. Swear to God. And it's like the quiet. I grew up with chickens. 2 doors down, Black people move in, and somebody died because there was a drug deal gone wrong. I know that there's some data that says white people deal drugs more than Black people. It's just white people do love Coke, so I am going to give that. That is probably our drug. White people do love Coke and Adderall, but I even have a hard time believing that because I've just met so many Black guys that they sell weed. I'm gonna read the rest of the super chat. Sorry, and then I will let you go. Math.
Sure.
So then the entire U.S. real estate market can be explained by law-abiding people fleeing the fatigue community. Max, hey Pearl, I want to get into your sugary wall. Okay, that's a weird thing.
Yeah, there we go.
All right. The book Sex and Culture describes when a society achieves this level of sexual immorality, they are doomed. Fact, fatigue women commit homicide at a higher rate than men of parlor. YouTube mandates that tortured word. Oh yeah, that's another thing. Black women also are just much more quickly to get offended. I've interviewed 1,000 people, so I don't know. That's actually more. I've actually talked to more people than are in a lot of these studies. Who's more credible, me or them? And Black women just are way more disagreeable. They get offended way easier. Where white people just tend to give the benefit of the doubt and say, "Oops, I'm sorry." Way more polite. Okay, Benefish. The Washington Post bragged about 900,000 white Americans losing their jobs and being replaced. That would make anyone tired. Yeah, that's the other thing. Defiant Brandon, Dr. Doofus is disingenuous. He said that the problem doesn't exist because there is no data, then plugged in his garbage book as the solution. Geisty, y'all can repair that friendship. Most ninjas would have done the same after the ninjas live good. Comment hole family profile made him turn on you. Comfort Williams answers history, systems, and data, explains the behavior, doesn't excuse it. You don't get to preempt Black fatigue. How many are reoffending third strike laws? I don't. Maybe you could. Do you know how many were reoffending, Dr. William James? And third strike laws of the data you cited? Do you know?
Of the data I cited, third strike, none of them were third strike.
Okay, that's your answer. Full we Todd.
Strikes. Okay, well then, yeah, they're oppressed.
Yeah.
No, we're talking about when I was comparing like the sentencing with the point system.
I don't know. You don't have to go too in depth. I was just going to answer really quick. Stats show that Black people are convicted at the highest rate when the judge and the jury is predominantly Black. Just stop. We see YNs going crazy all the time. Luke Red Pill Perry says salt. Alpha Keno, and she's Black. Shout out to Jesse and Pearl. Justin, bring love you, Pearly. Keep grifting like a boss. Girls gotta eat. Thank
Yeah.
you. Ninja culture is a mind virus spread by rap music and social media. Ninjas have to go to Europe to escape. John, here's the irony. Don't commit crimes. Yeah, but what? Whippo. I agree. You know, I just don't think it's that hard to not commit crimes. No offense, Donovan. Can Mr. Fantastic?
And I came here for a respectful conversation.
He's in the chat. 10 Ray Stub Hail Hair Math Ho Math drop that knowledge. Mr. Fantastic could come on next week. We're gonna continually do these Sunday panels. So against all odds, I've had to do them because a black host also crashed out on me because I said 50% of black women have herpes. You know, it's as if I made them get herpes. You know what I mean? Like, let urban landlord go up there and educate with his dope. Beneficiary, look at the enforcement. These judges play catch and release with violent offenders when they fit the narrative. Clue Studio, I've had a pew pointed at my face twice. Both were black. Red Pill Perry, Black Fatigue, LYNs, and L Nick Care. Mr. Fantastic, I'll pay $5 so it's not ignored. Do you see what I mean? It's like the black super chatter. He's assuming I'm ignoring him, which is bad faith, when really there was just a lot of super chats and the conversation was tough. He's offended. The white people that were also ignored are not offended. It just never ends. I paid that $5 this time, so it's not ignored. Our $3 crimes and child molestations, violent crimes. You know what? I had someone say that white people were the majority of child molestations. And that's actually true. I Googled it. But black people are still overrepresented. So there's still a higher percentage than they are of the population. Are sex crimes and child molestations violent? Yeah. So I can't remember sex crimes. Maybe there were the majority. And if we are, I can live with that. I really won't fight you on it. Joel Dalton, like all generalizations, they are generally true. Joe Galt, there's no one on this panel that knows blacks like me. I deal with them every day. I did offer you to come up. Love the link, but I'm not in a... Okay, yeah, it's okay. No problem.
Come on, bro, lighten up.
No, sorry, I'm just going through them. Oh, sorry. I was reading something else. Hold on. Okay, so when we talk about... Someone said they weren't in the right place for to call in. When you talk about Latinos and Asians, they don't say, what about the whites? Most blacks do it, and black women on this panel proving it. Are sex and molestation violent crimes? I don't know if they're categorized as that. That's a good question.
I think they should be. I think that's obvious.
Yeah. I mean, although the only thing with sex crimes is women call everything rape. So it's just like...
Yeah, right.
It's just like, I mean, I would agree, like a violent crime would be a guy... pulling them off the side of the road, but there's just too much, they just like, I saw something where the woman that accused Harvey Weinstein of like rape was like in his hotel room. And she's like, I consented to getting eaten out, but I didn't consent to this other thing. And I'm like, that's crazy that you're able to talk publicly about this. Like, Full Wee Todd, you're welcome for the $15. Continue not understanding why people don't like you because of bad arguments and not being held accountable, especially black people. Yeah. I do understand why black people don't like me and why people don't like me, and I can live with it. Full Wee Todd, when you think black, think I read that. Okay. Okay, Home Math, go ahead. It's your turn.
Oh man, I had a lot of points that were relevant at the time. I'm not sure what to add at this point. I was going to talk about how the plural of anecdote is data. I was going to talk about the whole not all thing.
Yeah, do it, man.
Let me just throw this up real quick. When people say not all, this is kind of like the point that they're making. Not all, but still it's a problem. So, not really very persuasive. The drug deals, I was going to say, like, what if white drug dealers are just more polite? What if they're just like nicer in court?
I always say I would be a really good drug dealer.
I would be.
Well, I think
I
Oh,
would
you're
be.
too tall. You're too tall. The
No, I
cops would be
think
like,
a really
yeah,
good
she's a
customer
drug dealer.
service.
Yeah, you would stand out, Pearl. I would be a terrible drug dealer because I would be like, "Are you sure that these are the right drugs for you?" And it would never be. It would never be true.
Would you like a different strain of cocaine today, sir? You look a little-
I feel like
Yeah,
the not
just-
all thing is important though, right?
Yeah.
Like
Mhm.
when like people say like all white people are racist or all men are dogs or something like that. Like I do think that when you overly generalize and use these overly broad blanketed terms, that I do think that it is important for people
But
to
the
actually
world
just
operates
be
in
accurate with
the
it.
world operates in
Hold on.
generalities. Otherwise, we
Hold
wouldn't be able
on.
to say anything. I can say people in Boston are rude. No, not all people in Boston are rude, but we know that most people in Boston are rude. Like
Yeah.
everything can be combated with not all.
Tom, you wanted to talk
Sure.
about something in the chat here about
Yeah, I was
clarifying
gonna say so earlier you guys were talking about the fact that like a lot of excuses are made and that like the systemic racism is kind of just accusing people when like again systemic racism is more just about data, and once you find that there's a disproportionality you're just trying to find a reason for that. I understand that like when we bring up like there's not two-parent households in the Black community, like this is us looking at a reason for why this might happen. And it's the same if we find communities where there might be a lot more drug use. Like there's communities in, I think, Ohio that have a ridiculous amount of heroin use there. So we're not just going to tell them, hey guys, just don't do heroin. Like we're going to try to find the reason for that. We also want to hold them accountable. We also want them to go to jail if they get caught. We want drug dealers to get in trouble. We want the accountability to be there. And so if people are turning around and just saying, oh, it's because I'm Black, yes, they are using excuses to where that person as an individual will never improve, and they need to actually take accountability for their own lives. But as a society, when things become bigger problems and they become systemic, not just for Black people, but for drug use, for promiscuity, whatever like the issue is, we want to look at what the causes are and what it is we can do to make these things less likely. And so that's the only reason that we would bring up stats and like systemic racism and things like that, is not to excuse what it is that's happening or say that they shouldn't be held accountable in any way, but to say if there's a reason for this, that is important for us to have the conversation.
It's important for us to have the conversation, and it is a factor. But if you are a victim of a violent crime committed by a Black person, you don't give a fuck about the why. You don't give a shit about the why. A lot of Black people like say, well, the reason why he committed this violent crime, and they can have really legit reasons. He grew up without a father. His mother was a drug dealer. He has a learning, whatever the case may be. If you are the family of that victim, you're not going to say, you know what, Your Honor or jury, I'm going to request a lighter sentence because I now know why. I think, and I'm not saying that you're doing this, tomfoolery, but a lot of people want to have the conversation why as a guise or a ruse to continue to make excuses. No, it's not always pointing out that, systemic racism is an excuse. But a lot of time when people say not all, and it's systemic racism, it is a low-key indirect way of excusing the behavior to some degree.
I want to see the rest of Homath's thing.
Mhm.
Do you want to finish Homath?
Well, where was I? What do I want to finish? What?
Oh, I thought you were making a drawing. No.
Oh no, I was doing a whole bunch.
You were,
of things.
you were talking about like the not all thing.
Yeah, the not all thing. It's like that's a topic that we could talk about for like hours by itself. When we're again, it's coming down to when a group of people is generally expressing a sentiment around another group of people. The idea is not all. It's like, well, not all Mexicans are in cartels, so let's open the border and let them all in. Well, you let in the whole cartel.
Right.
Yeah. The Branca Show, anybody who needs not all lacks the emotional maturity to engage in a productive adult dialogue. We all know not all, too many can be inferred.
Exactly.
I would think it would at least be the majority though, if we are using like Black people. So like I said earlier,
I do think it's the
white people
majority.
are racist. I would not accept the white people are racist.
It doesn't matter if it's the majority. It matters if it's enough to make a difference.
Yeah. I do think it's the majority.
It could
for
be.
some of the things that I said, like I would say that I would guess the majority of Black women have herpes. Just because usually when there's like an STD stat, it's usually worse than you think because because like who's going to admit that? You're getting half of them to admit it.
I'm going to use this since we're talking about the why and stuff and how we got here. I'm going to use this as a segue for the last question of the evening. And I'm gonna start with Athena and Pearl, the two ladies, and then we can go to Dr. James, Homath, Donovan, tomfoolery. Okay, how can men, black men in particular, but you can use men in general, marry and have children with a group of women that don't see fathers and husbands as necessary? Since we're talking about the single mothers and the crime and stuff, how can men, black men in particular, if you want to say men, period, how can black men or men in general deal with and have permanent relationships and marriage with women that see fathers?
Yeah.
And men is optional. Go ahead.
You can't. It's cooked.
Yeah,
So
that's it.
I think it's actually cooked for all races. So
we're all getting there.
but I would just really wouldn't expect anything. Maybe you can get a kid and maybe she'll let you have it, but probably not. So I would just
Okay.
I would say that for all races. White women, we might wait a little, because black women, from what I've seen, they tend to break up with the kid's dad. Like a lot of times, even before the kids, they might have never been together.
Yep.
White women will get married, but when that kid gets to preschool, you're cooked, fellas. Yep. Your youngest, however many kids she wants, once your youngest one's in preschool, your life is about to be ruined. And there's the occasional man that does figure out his way around it. Donovan's one of them, but Donovan had to do like a decade of work, and who wants to do all that?
Whoa, wait a minute. Yeah, it was. Listen, I'm still the work. The work still. It is a never-ending process. Being married, being in a good, strong, solid relationship, it never stops. But what Pearl is talking about, it took a long time to rid my wife of her attention-seeking behaviors. It wasn't easy, but it was worth it, and my life is so much better than it ever was running through hoes in Vegas. Oh my God.
Okay. Next up is Athena. You want me to read the question again, or do you
no. I pretty much agree with Pearl. I understand the population in the United States is decreasing. We need people to have kids. We need people to get married and have kids. So I understand what you're saying, and I understand that there are a lot of issues and we need to essentially get down to the bottom of it. I would say any woman who says, I don't need a man, or I don't respect men, or anything along those lines, I would just move on. And I would ask those questions really early. And honestly, even for just sleeping with them, I wouldn't even do that, because attention is like a woman's currency. Well, yeah, that too. But attention is like a woman's currency. So if you just deprive them of what it is that they want the most, they will start acting right. They'll start correcting themselves, even if it's temporarily. I think a lot of people have compared it to like a mind virus. And I actually used to have a little more contention with Pearl until I got on TikTok. I said I would never get on TikTok. Finally got on TikTok, and then I was like, oh, dang. Society's cooked. I was like, this is bad. This is really bad. So I would just say really look at her past, listen to what she says, get to know her family, trust the patterns, trust the red flags. Don't, they say post-nut clarity is a thing. So, maybe wake one off before and then go on your date. And if she's not okay with a coffee date, keep it moving. Most men or most good women, they're okay with a coffee date. They're okay. Actually, the cutest date that I saw recently was meeting up for coffee and doing a puzzle together. I thought that was adorable. But yeah, I'll land my plane there.
Okay. Dr. William James.
Yeah, so I believe the question was, what can black men do with a group of women who don't see men as necessary?
Fathers, husbands, or men in general as necessary.
You can't do nothing with a woman that doesn't see a father or a husband, or men in general as necessary, because they don't see you as necessary. So then you have to deal with that masculine behavior that men aren't attracted to, which is to, what Kevin Sims used to talk about, and what other people, even I in the app, in this what they call a manosphere, I talk about. That's something we have to fix, like as Pearl said, across the board, but we have to fix it in the Black community. I focus on speaking to the Black community, and we got a lot of Black women out here who need to fix this behavior. A lot of women tend to look for the bad boy first, and I did a video about this I posted today. It's Black women out there like Ciara who they go for the bad boy first. Yeah. And then after they get ran through, or after they get pregnant by, you know, a Pookie or Ray Ray, now they want to go to, you know, a Black guy who's like this Russell Wilson type of square dude who will accept them. A simp, we call it, that will accept them and their child from their previous relationship or relationships. It usually comes down to that. As Athena was just saying, you know, we got to do a better job at weeding them out. And you have to get to know them and see their personality, look for those red flags. A lot of the red flags, you know, jump out at you. You know, I always say pay attention to things like those super long nails is a red flag to me. Right. If they have all of these tattoos all over, especially, you know, in those red flag spots, you know, those tramp stamps, those ones in the middle of the chest, those ones right on their thigh.
The septum piercing?
Oh my God.
Those piercings, yeah, the bull, what's it, the bull ringer, bull nose, the ones, even when they get those, what they call it, a bridge or the bar thing straight through there, I pay attention to all of that before I even get to speaking to them. Obviously, if they're dressed half naked, that lets you know where their mind is at. But yeah, you have to just pay attention to all of these red flags and, you know, think with your brain and not your, you know what, yeah. So I pay attention to all of that. You know, you gotta. I tell men to look for the red flags. Look at what type of music they like. Look at their hobbies. Look at their interests. Look at who they like on this podcast. You know, universe type of thing. You know, if she's, you know, she gets mad if you bring up Kevin Samuels, then that's a sign.
Real talk.
She gets mad. If you bring up Pearl Davis, it's a sign.
Even with me being in this space now, I'm sort of glad, even though you have to watch people's ulterior motives, but I like that they can Google me or go on my Instagram or go on YouTube and see interviews that I've done and see how I talk, because then that weeds them out anyway.
There we go.
Because when I'm speaking like this, they'll say, I saw you on this panel saying like, oh, women shouldn't just dress like this, or women shouldn't be twerking and all this stuff. And then the modern feminist comes out of them. They can't help it. So, you know, you just got to look for that and weed them out.
Okay. Next up, Homath.
Well, I just have this little visual here.
Oh my God.
Where this is women saying, I don't need a man. I don't need a man. I just need all men to pay me through the government.
Let's go.
This is great. Dude, you should
break that down a little bit, please. Like, give us the how and the why.
Well, I mean, like, this is when you let women vote, they vote to give everybody stuff for free, but there's no such thing as free, so it has to come from someone. And if it comes from someone, it has to come from the people who are working, and the people who are working are men, because women just like take care of children and the elderly and buy Starbucks and go to Lululemon. And so men have to pay, even though they don't have wives, and they just go, oh, and they pay, and they get nothing.
Wait, you could do this with Black people and white people, where they say we don't need
That's
white
exactly
people.
true. Hang on, let me pull that up. Hang on, let me pull that up. Let me
then
pull
we're like,
it up.
hey, go do it on your own.
I'm about to drop the knot.
I had a producer whose his grandma was from Zimbabwe, and she lived under colonization, and she said she wanted it back. She said she I swear God, she said she missed colonization. Oh wow.
I got it.
Don't white men pay like 80% of the taxes?
Yeah, white men are paying everybody's bills in America. And we don't want to. We don't want to, but if we don't do it, then the government murders us. So
yeah.
Homath is the man, dude. Straight up. Let's go.
Yeah.
Okay.
Listen, I don't know how I'm gonna follow that up, but I'll say.
Wait, hold on, Don.
Let him finish.
Keep going.
Are you done, Homath?
Yeah, I'm all set.
Okay. Okay, Tom Foolery, go ahead. Question about the father.
I mean, what was the question again?
The question was,
yeah, why should black men date black women?
No. Well, I mean, that's pretty much the context. But how can men, black men in particular, have long-term relationships or marriages and have children with a group of women that see fathers and husbands as unnecessary, or men in general as unnecessary?
From my understanding, it kind of the chicken came before the egg. Like there were it was common that Black men within the community were not as likely to like stick around and father their children and things like that. And then women came up with it. Well, let me finish the thought process, because I'm saying my understanding is that came first, and then the women's mentality became, all right, fine, if you're not going to stick around, we're going to become independent, and we're gonna just take care of ourselves. And then that came the mantra, we don't need men because we're able to take care of ourselves.
Okay, Black people were married at an 85% rate up until 1970. Okay, what you're talking about is a myth.
Wait,
That's
when did that mantra start?
Feminism.
When the
90s,
mantra of that we don't need no man started in the early 2000s, late 90s.
No, it didn't. It started way before that, my friend.
Before that guy.
It started. No. Black women were given government benefits, and they walked away from men first. And not only that, but in the 70s, when public schools opened up, Black men were pushed to trade jobs and factory jobs, and Black women were pushed to colleges. So by the late 80s and the 90s, when manufacturing was being pushed out, you had affirmative action counting Black women as double minorities, putting them in white collar jobs, and Black men had to catch up really, really fast. Black women chose government benefits and being single mothers over their men. They're the only female group in mass to choose that over their men. When Pearl said the best, when women have choice, they choose the worst thing for them.
That's right.
Women have choice and they choose to be whores. Black women had choice and they chose to leave their men behind. And you're perpetuating this trope that, oh yeah, Black women had to get it. Black men have always made more money than Black women. They do so now. We work harder, we work longer, we die sooner. Black women are not the backbone of the Black community. Never have been, never will be. It's Black men's hard work, sweat, and tears that freaking have the Black community on life support as it is right now. So stop perpetuating these tropes, Tom. You have no idea what you're talking about.
I mean, yeah, I would have to see something that
I don't have to. I've lived it.
Backs
I know
that up
it.
because when you
So don't say that.
Well, I grew up in an all Black neighborhood in New York. I live in Atlanta around all Black people as well. I don't know where you're getting this from, but yes, historically the chicken did seem to come before the egg, in that there was fatherlessness that came first, and then
Black
the
men started
mantra
it. Is
of,
that what you're saying?
and no, it's not just Black men. Like there is like a culture of like getting somebody pregnant, and the women and the man weren't ready for marriage, which is why Black women also have like insanely high abortion rates. I think there was a couple of years ago where there went about 10 years where Black women in New York City had more abortions than they had.
You interpret this data so favorable towards women. Like
Well,
they
it's
only-
not about favorability. I'm talking about
No,
which
but
one
you
came
keep
first.
you
So
keep
it's like, that's
explaining
not
it. You keep
favorability.
explaining it as if like
it's our fault.
Yeah, like as if the women were just like these innocent.
You know,
people.
I'm sorry.
white
You
liberals.
guys
White
make it
liberals
about
are the most dangerous
faults.
people
I'm not talking about
in
faults.
the
I'm talking
US.
about facts.
No, but that's what you are. That's what you're doing. What you are essentially doing is you're saying, well, I don't need a man, didn't come from women themselves. Men, we don't give a shit. We don't care how long it's been around. We care that it's around. I'll answer let me answer CPA's question here. How can we marry a group of women who have this permanent, who have this negative this negative view?
Where men and husbands are not necessary.
Yeah. Number one, you can't be with a woman who sees you as unnecessary. That's just all there is to it. Number two, Athena's coffee date analogy. That is the perfect analogy. A coffee, and I want you guys to pay attention. A coffee date is a test drive. Okay. If a woman tells you she doesn't want to go on a coffee date, what she is essentially telling you is that she knows that she's not going to measure up. So she wants to get her cash and prizes before you figure out that she ain't shit. That's why this is why women reject coffee dates. A coffee date, like I said, is a test drive. You get to see if you actually like this girl's company. But girls don't like coffee dates because it allows you to see what's under the hood. They don't want you to see what's under the hood until you've committed. And here's the last thing. This is the problem with baby mama culture, is that modern women have higher standards for their they have higher standards for their stepdaddies than they do their baby daddies. And this is why better than 3 out of 4 black women in the black community are baby mamas, because they have higher standards for their stepdaddies than they do for their baby dadders, than they do for their baby daddies in the CC era.
Okay,
I feel like earlier you guys were talking about like not allowing people to be accountable and making excuses, but I feel like that's exactly what's happening right now,
Let's
where we're
not talk
talking
about
about a
the
problem that
conversation. Let's just have
exists
it,
that
Tom. Let's have the
perpetuates other
conversation.
problems, and you're making excuses so that there is no accountability.
Okay, fine. You're right. We're wrong. Let's just have the conversation instead of talking about it.
Okay, I'm gonna what do you say? I'm gonna read the super chats really quick.
Make sure to show the super chats. Like,
bro, you're a
I-
racist. As you read them.
I can't do it once it's passed on the right.
Oh, okay.
Like that's why I'm not doing it. Is
If you go to Starred, you can see all of them.
oh really? Let me see.
Yes, if you see where it says live in the chat, and then you go over to Starred.
Oh,
you will see every super chat from the very start.
Oh,
So there
that's so awesome. Thank you.
No
Okay, where men make their mistake is expecting women to use logic. It's not in their nature to do so. This is why they shouldn't vote. Attitudes towards blacks in America was far more malign. If you're only fatigued now, then that's happily acceptable. It's why the topic is all shock value and dumb. I don't show this until you'll shock us next. I understand why you think that. I really do. But I'm telling you, when I left England, black people just fatigued me too hard. I was done. I never saw race until they made me.
That's
But you call white people colonizers and racists. Like you do that for a decade. It's like, what
Can
do you
play that Instagram reel before we go about that one? Go talking about
I
why
will-
Gen Z is so
let me-
racist.
Yeah, let me get through it. Proverbs 31:3, don't give your strength to a woman and that which destroys kings.
Samson and Delilah.
Imagine believing other groups' experiences too. I mean, I'd maybe believe men's experiences, but like imagine if I had just believed women's experiences.
my
Like
God,
your
made up.
your group has to have a reputation for being honest.
Yeah.
And like, so like if I believed women's experience, it would be like, oh, I get raped every other day. And like, yeah. And then, it's like, so I actually don't think I have to believe every groups or
Yeah,
other-
not everyone tells
Yeah.
the truth the same.
not all groups tell the truth equally. And I would just put men way above women. So if a woman is available after 25 and not a widow, she's cooked.
Facts.
Ninja culture definitely over my next Latina. I'm out on God. Interesting. Okay, that's all of the okay. Sorry. Matthew, welcome to go while I pull up the next video.
Welcome to what? Yeah.
Didn't
I
you have
gotta-
something you wanted to add or
look at this.
I mean, I usually have something I want to add. I just always forget what it is.
What's that on your paper now? What is that?
Well, I'm pointing to we were just talking about how women pick the bad boy to reproduce with and then pick the good guy to pay them money later. And I just have this all mapped out.
That's what feminism's a strategy so women can bang hot guys.
Mhm.
Yes.
And have other men pay for
Yeah,
it.
feminism is getting pregnant with the bad boy. I have a little sword here, and then getting the good guy to pay for it with his money. And like I've been both of these guys.
Yes.
And ideally, what we're supposed to do is get each woman to agree to be with a man who's enough of both. But we don't want to do that anymore. Women want to split it. Men don't want to split it, and women want to.
Very good.
All right, we're gonna close out the show and watching this video.
About why probably most Gen Z white people are racist is because black people treated us like shit for no reason. Y'all's millennial parents raised you to be racist to white people. And so you go out into the world treating white people like crap, and you're shocked to your freaking core when white people don't like you. And black people like to act like this just doesn't make any sense. They're like, we've treated young white people like shit for their entire life. I wonder why they're growing resentment. But if a black person experiences racism for their entire life, which is not even probably 1% of what white people experience, black people don't even get real racism. Okay, white people are the ones who experience racism. The black people get like the minute racism and they're like freaking out. White people just deal with it. It's pattern recognition, man. It comes from somewhere. you gotta accept accountability. The honest truth about why probably most.
Damn, she dropped facts.
There you go.
Mhm. That was pretty
Okay.
good. What's her number?
Okay, so let's.
Holy shit, man.
She got really hot all of a sudden.
He was obviously trolling.
So let's wrap things up here because we're coming on 3 hours. We're gonna do Pearl, Athena, Dr. William James, Ho Math, Tomfoolery. Donovan can close out.
Okay.
Okay, well, my final thoughts are that white people didn't ask to be fatigued, but Black people's behavior has indeed made us fatigued. And while you can point to studies and say that there are systemic racism, I think that you can make a study or a stat or a fact or data and statistics say pretty much anything. And Black people will always cite sources to make it seem like they're the victim. They also do this in their personal lives. I've seen it at work. I've seen it with Black people I was friends with. And it's not all, but it's significant enough that white people are fatigued. The only group of Black people I did not see that had this set of behaviors are surprisingly the ones from actual Africa. I don't know why, but when they came to the ones I met in the UK just were not about this racism stuff. They said, you guys don't know about racism. They said, my grandma was actually under colonization. That was their experience. That's what they said. So I don't know. Anyways, yeah, I don't think white people wanted to be fatigued. It's just Black people kept committing crimes and doing things that were very unruly. But I appreciate this panel because nobody on this panel made me fatigued except the girl I kicked earlier. So.
Oh, that was a lot of fatigue.
Yeah. Okay, Athena.
I'll say that I don't feel like I'm well versed on this subject. I'm still trying to learn a little bit more about it. But I see issues on both sides. So I think I just need to do a little more research on things and see, how I feel about it. I definitely call out what I can. I don't feel like I got to add much to the panel. I try to be respectful and not interrupt, but I normally focus on anti-feminism, but it was still lovely to be here. So thank you.
And she booked like half this panel. So shout out to Athena, the very few women that actually brought me value into my life.
Thank you.
Okay, Dr. William James, final thoughts.
My final thoughts, when we have these discussions, I like to always be rooted in data, facts, statistics, no matter what topic I'm discussing. I think that's the only way we can move the needle and then get anywhere with these types of discussions. Otherwise, we're just dealing with person's opinions and their anecdotal experiences, and you can take it as truth or not. But you can't really twist certain facts and statistics. Facts are facts. There's tier 1 sources, there's tier 2 sources, and there's .org, there's .edu, there's real studies. It's just like if we look at a DSM-5 where they have real professionals that conduct their research to come up with facts that we can use to analyze and, look at actual experiences and data. So even when we look at, real experiences, we can't ignore the fact that there are really billion-dollar companies being sued like Wells Fargo for racism in hiring and banking. So, that's a systemic issue. We can't ignore redlining. We can't ignore the history that shows that there are real issues. Just like when we see these modern women and these modern feminists, how they're impacting marriage and certain things today, percentage-wise. We look at the data, facts, and statistics. We see that it's a negative, the modern feminist movement. So I like to stay rooted in that. And I think that's, the best thing that we could do with these discussions.
Homa?
Homa?
Well, one thing that I was trying to say earlier, I didn't get the chance to, is that the plural of anecdote is data. I wrote anecdata here. And facts can be wrong, but feelings cannot. And when a whole bunch of people start telling you about their feelings and you tell them that they're wrong, that's just, you're wrong, because people's feelings can never be wrong. What's going on in our culture right now is feelings-based, and the data-based part of it doesn't invalidate that. And I think that's what people should really be focusing on. We have a lot of discomfort, with each other as things become more, as different groups start to mix, we have problems with each other. And when you point out data and say, oh, this is here, why you shouldn't feel that way, that's kind of what I want to focus on. You can't tell people why they shouldn't feel a certain way. That is, I think, what we should be focusing on is what people want and not rather what's true. It's a lot harder to tell what's true than it is to tell what people want.
Okay. Tom Fuller, go ahead. You're on mute.
Yeah, sorry, my computer's lagging a little bit. So I think I generally try to base all of my opinions based off of studies or the way that I think about something. I might have feelings based on my own anecdotal experiences, but I don't try to project that onto overall groups as though if I've engaged with 300 Black people, that this is representative of, 70 million Black people or anything like that. I think studies, because they're done with peer review processes and scientific processes, this makes it to where they are trustworthy, and then people's own random experiences that they have, whether even if me and another person both have very drastically different experiences where they say, hey, every single Latino that I engage with is the nicest person ever, and I say every Latino that I engage with is the meanest person ever, that there has to be some way for us to come to a consensus, and generally it's going to be some third-party scientific consensus that exists that we should be relying on instead. But I think that a lot of times people just pick and choose studies based on whether or not it aligns with their feelings. Their feelings comes first, and then they choose the studies that they want to cite based on their feelings. But if we just play TikTok videos that say the things that we like, or TikTok videos that show the anecdotes that we like, this doesn't really give us a real perspective. I think that I debate Black people all the time who cry about racism all the time, who say that all white people are racist. They use the colonizer narratives. They talk about the CRT academia and shit like that. I think these people are fucking nuts. I think that they are insane. I can't stand a lot of the shit that they say because they overly generalize what it is that they've seen in movies or in their own experiences. But I think the Black fatigue narrative is just the other side of the same coin, where it's a bunch of people saying a bunch of crazy shit and just whining and crying about their own anecdotal experiences with people and kind of overly generalizing people in a way that doesn't actually align with reality.
Well, yeah, because you want to be the interpreter of reality.
Yeah.
That's what the academics want to do. It's like ultimate gaslighting. Anyways,
Donovan?
Yes, sir.
Well, studies, not me. But.
And listen, man, let me just address Tom here quickly. Dude, look, man, I understand why you say what you say, but you don't have to have experience with 300,000 Black people to get Black fatigue, okay? And it's not just our own.
One is enough.
You know what I'm saying? like honestly, at this point, and you don't have to, you don't have to have just base your opinions on anecdotal experience, because there are other people who are giving their anecdotal experiences on TikTok, on Twitter, on YouTube. Tom, I would strongly advise you to go and watch TikTok videos and YouTube and Twitter about Black fatigue. There are Black people running around just hitting white people for no good reason. Little kids in the schoolyard. I saw a video, dude, there are too many to name. I saw a video where a group of Black football players ganged up on a white kid in South Carolina in the dorm and beat the shit out of him just because he was white. Thank God the kid recorded the video. Anyway, Black people are the most fatigued. And the reason why Black people are the most fatigued is because we're the ones that have to indirectly pay the price for the behavior of niggas. Okay. I live in a gated community because I don't want to be around niggas. Okay. The Walmart and Target in my neighborhood, we don't have anything locked up because there are literally no niggas that live here. And as far as Dr. James, and due respect, Dr. James, data and statistics, you're smart enough to know that they can be made to say whatever you want. You can get them from .org or .co or .whatever. They can be made to say whatever you want. And this is exactly what Tom Foolery just said. You can look at facts and statistics that only back up your feelings. So then there's that. But then you think about this. people who are victims of Black fatigue, they ain't trying to hear about tier 1 or tier 2 sources. Okay. They see this shit. They live this shit every day. And they're not about to say, well, I guess Black fatigue isn't real. No, Black fatigue is real. And
A Black person robbed me, but look at my tier 2 source.
You know what I'm saying? Ain't nobody trying to hear
Like my
that.
boyfriend got his truck stolen by a bunch of
It's ridiculous. And listen, okay, and so Wells Fargo's being sued. So fucking what? If Wells Fargo is doing redlining, then go bank with somebody else. Why in the world are we trying to go where we're not appreciated? If Wells Fargo really was that racist, then what the fuck are we trying to be at Wells Fargo for anyway? Big fucking deal. Number 3, redlining was ancient fucking history, and Black people are using the shit that happened in the past as an excuse for this nigga behavior. And again, Dr. James, due respect. You appear to be red-pilled on women, but my friend, you are not red-pilled on race. And the sooner you admit to the fact that niggas are ruining Black culture, the better off we'll all be. And that's all I got.
Okay, so my closing statement is, I told you I've been Black for over 40 years.
What?
You know, I was too white for the Black people, and thank God for that. I wear that as a badge of honor. Black people have made my version of Blackness. They made my version of Blackness my problem my whole life. I don't understand why Black people feel it necessary to take up space, be loud, disturb the peace. It's not about crime. It's about why is it that the meanest, nastiest person at every workplace is a Black woman that you have to call Miss Quanisha or Miss something or other? Why? And then, oh yeah, it's just how she is. Why is it that the Black single mother has to come to the school and raise hell at the teacher who's just trying to put some discipline in her child when she won't do it at herself? Why is it we go on TikTok, we know that there are more white people on food stamps than Black people, but the only people on social media saying, if I don't get my food stamps, I'm going to rob somebody, are Black women. Why is this? Why? We have this incessant need to take up space, disturb the peace, make ourselves be heard. Why? No. White people are tired of it. There's a certain level of decorum and respect you have to live in society and in certain parts of America. And one last thing, if you're a Black person who's worth a damn, your parents had the conversation with you having to learn how to play the game to get to where you want to be. And that was understood up until about, people right around 35 understand this, but there's a group of Black people, especially younger you don't understand that you have to play the game first, and they don't want to play the game anymore. They don't want to conform and just like do what's necessary to fit in first, get to a position where you can make a change and then do that. But don't walk around making noise, yelling, screaming. It's not just about crime. It's about that unquantifiable just fatigue that Black people are causing on white people. And I'm here for it, man. I've had Black people fatigue my whole life. And I'm glad that people like Pearl and white America is finally starting to speak out about it. Black people have been punching a social credit card for the past 15 to 20 years, and the bill is due.
Right.
Okay.
I'm going to read this last super chat. 6 decades of experience with fatigue, but the study from a DEI-ridden academic center says I'm wrong. So, oh well. He also messaged me and says, he wanted to super chat this, but it got blocked. Having herpes is largely an answer to the question, do you date Black women?
Oh, snap.
Fatigue people professing utter bewilderment at why people are fatigued tells the whole story. Thanks.
Okay.
Well, thank you guys all for coming. Even if we disagreed, I thought you were all really respectful and good sports. We'd like to have you back. So thanks for coming. And I'm just going to kick you guys now and then do final thoughts with Doug. So I appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.
All right. That was cool, Doug. I think we'll make this a regular thing,
Yeah, I think we should have like 4 people instead of 6, maybe.
Yeah, I think there's some changes, like less people, and it would have helped if I had given you muting power before the show, but I just could not figure out how to do it during. So we'll figure that out for next time. But I think this is me being petty, might have started something cool.
You know what it is? You're hanging out with one of those petty people on the planet. I live that petty life, man. I'm telling you, I will always encourage you to be petty.
Yeah, but I think this is a good thing going. I don't know. I was gonna tell Athena, I'm like, Athena, you can come on every week if you book these panels.
Yeah.
I'm like, if you work with us to book the panels, you can come on weekly. I don't care. She's a great panelist.
Do you have her contact information? Because I'll we can tailor a show that'll be more to her strengths.
Yeah.
That'd be great. Yeah,
Yeah,
she was fantastic. But everyone was pretty respectful except for the person that we would think wouldn't be. I mean, come on.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. And
It's like-
thank you for bringing her back. I told you to bring her back up because I wanted to see her reaction to the herpes question, but she crashed out like I thought that she'd crash out. So
Yeah. Do you know what? I just said I'm emailed you her contact. You know, I will if I will kick people off if they're just really annoying, even if I can't describe why. So be warned.
someone reached out and said that she messaged them and she's taking accountability. Smoothie Queen. She said that she's backstage waiting to be added back. She's willing to talk when it's her turn. I said we'll let her back on next time. She needs to learn a lesson about main character syndrome. She's not the main character.
I don't really know because I just don't feel like talking to her again. Like I don't know how to put it. Like you guys, like, you have to understand, part of like women do this, they're just really unlikable towards you. And she wasn't even the worst one, but my tolerance is just getting. Lila Rose made it last. And then, you know, it's so funny. You're like, okay, let's just never talk again. And then they're like, but I want to talk. And you're like, I think that's like women. They just torture you. I'd consider giving her another chance. I'd consider it.
Yeah, and here's the thing. I love this arc that you're on, Pearl. I love it because you've been wanting to talk about this and share your feelings. I didn't think we'd ever be at this point where you could share your feelings about this after what happened to you in London. And now, you know, thank God for Trump and these media companies pressuring them and finding out that certain people's voices were censored and stuff. But I'm telling you, Pearl has the gloves off, guys.
Yeah, you made me a villain. I just want you to know, MTR, Sarah, you guys made me a villain.
Yep.
You're on my shit list forever.
Yep. And this is only the beginning. Trump is going to be in office for 3 more years. So we have, what, 3 more years before you have to be worried again?
All right, guys, I'm tired. I got to go. I think this is going to be a regular thing. So, yeah, this is my villain arc. Love you guys. Thanks for watching. I think we're going to change the chat to members only. So if you want to go to the memberships on the YouTube. Also, I honestly think they might kick me off any day now talking like this, but it really just, if I don't talk freely, it kind of impacts the quality of the show. And I'm a little bit nervous I'm going to get kicked off again. I don't know how long I'll be here. I don't know if I'll survive another cancellation. So if you can, go to the audacitynetwork.com. Support me. It's $10 a month, $80 a year. If you're really rich, if there's any like super rich people watching, you can do $500 a month. Or you can donate to the divorce documentary GoFundMe in the description. All of this just helps pay for like editing costs and production costs. So thanks guys so much. We love you and we'll see you next time.
Have a good one.